a great run. All of you guys. Oh my God. We did it, we did it.
In Japan last year, Michael Schumacher ended Ferrari's 21 years of agony by becoming their first drivers' champion since Jody Scheckter. This year, his task will be even harder. Häkkinen came close to making it 3 in a row. McLaren won't take defeat lying down, and you can bet the Finn and teammate David Coulthard will make life extremely difficult for the current title holder. The establishment face a dynamic new rival in Juan Pablo Montoya. Can he knock them off the top spot?
It's not about knocking them off or something, you know. You gotta try to do the best you can. You know, if you have a chance, you know, the car is competitive and you're competitive to beat them, you gotta give it a try.
Does the arrival of the former Champ Car title holder and Indy 500 winner put extra pressure on his teammate?
At the end of the day, you always have the pressure to perform good and in the points or in the lead in Formula 1, so it doesn't really matter whether you have what teammate you have. If you're not quick enough, you're out.
Among the other new faces is Finnish youngster Kimi Räikkönen. With only 23 car races behind him, he'll be competing in the first 4 events under the supervision of the FIA. Despite the new challenges, an impending tyre war is the big story. The implications of the battle between Bridgestone and new arrivals Michelin has raised major safety concerns.
It's a permanent battle in mechanical sport. On one side, you have the people in charge of safety of the sport that try to maintain a certain level of speed and adequation between the machines and the tracks. And on the other side, where you have thousands of engineers working 20 hours a day trying to go fast. So it's a permanent balance. It's not new.
All this will make for 17 races of unparalleled action and intrigue. Australia is the perfect place to start the Formula One season. It possesses unique scenery and wildlife and a population passionate about sport. The scenic Albert Park circuit always attracts a large and enthusiastic crowd. As they say in Melbourne, it's a great place for a race.
It's really great. Nice to be here in Melbourne.
The atmosphere rubs off on the drivers, even though they're about to start a long, hard season, with plenty of new factors to adjust to. Rule changes have produced radical designs this year, as Benetton Technical Director Mike Gascoigne explains.
Moving the wing up 50 mil makes it much less efficient, so it's very difficult to generate downforce at the front of the car, and also because the wing's working less efficiently, it hurts the rear of the car. So actually what's a very small change in real terms has quite a large impact on the car.
Another new rule reduces the maximum number of elements in the rear wing to 4. However, it's the changes to the front wing that have the teams jealously guarding their designs.
Most people have actually gone fairly similar ways with lowered middle sections of the wing. Some teams have done it in more extreme fashion. In fact, if you look at probably our front wing, it's probably the most extreme. But actually aerodynamically, they're all doing a similar thing, which is generate as much downforce as possible in the middle of the wing by lowering it, because the regulations allow you to do that.
Does Mike Gascoigne look forward to the challenge of taking on top designers Adrian Newey and Rory Byrne?
We're engineers and we're trying to design cars, and it's fun when the regulations change, because in some respects it allows you to be cleverer than the next person. So if you can do something that's better than the other teams do, you'll actually get an advantage from the regulation change. And for me as an engineer, you know, regulation changes sort of make it fun.
The VIPs and celebrities have turned up early. The Duke of Kent and rock band Deep Purple are keen to see all the action. The defending world champion is fast out of the blocks, hoping to stamp his authority as early as Friday practice. Unfortunately, Schumacher's impact at turn 6 is rather more chilling. The FIA's tougher crash tests prove their worth, and the German escapes injury. Nick Heidfeld and Heinz-Harald Frentzen are also caught out, pushing their new cars and tyres to the limit. But what was going through the mind of their not-so-lucky compatriot?
The only thing you think of is what is going to happen now. You're waiting for the big impact, but honestly there wasn't any big impact, and the impact that was there was very well protected by all the facilities we have developed, especially this year. We have this new panel in the cockpit which gives a great deal of safety.
Another safety concern is the effect of the impending tyre war. Lap times are likely to be reduced, but how long will it be before Michelin-shod teams get on terms with their Bridgestone rivals? Mario Tyson gives his views.
Michelin as a new entrant needs a learning season like we had it last year. I'm quite sure they will improve quickly, and if we are among the top 10 today at the first race with Michelin in qualifying, I would be happy and I would be confident for the race.
The first qualifying session will see if everybody's pre-season confidence is well-founded. Surprisingly, McLaren are struggling. Mika Hakkinen and technical director Adrian Newey can't find a good balance for the Finns' car. Third position just won't do for the former champion. His teammate is faring even worse and is only 6th fastest. Their chief rivals are flying. Michael Schumacher shatters last year's pole position time by 4 seconds. His brother's 5th fastest time surpasses the expectations of Mario Tyson. The Williams driver is the leading Michelin runner. As the teams look forward to the first race, the vast army of Australian Formula One fans filter into Albert Park on race day, still buzzing over the pace of this year's cars.
I think that what you saw yesterday was what we felt would always happen in a tyre war. I think there's probably 2 seconds of that 4 seconds is linked to technology improvements. When you have 2 manufacturers fighting like hell, it's different when there's just one and it's a controlled tyre. Then you can keep controls on the speed and the grip of the tyres. In this case, all the gloves are off and they are in there fighting like all the teams fight. So you would naturally expect that. On the other side, I was surprised that the engineers, everybody said with the FIA rule changes and the aerodynamic changes that there should be maybe 10%, 12% decrease in the speeds. In actual fact, the speeds have got even quicker again. And full marks to the engineers. You can't keep these guys down. The problem is we pay for it and they do the job, what they're supposed to do, and the cars go quicker. It's inevitable. It always happens. Cars go quicker because the guys are clever.
We're just seconds away from the race, but it may as well be hours for those concerned. It's a tense time for all, especially the new drivers.
Last cars are lining up now, one.
So when all the cars are in the grid.
Grid's full.
At last, F1 2001 is go. Michael Schumacher streaks away from Häkkinen, the fast-starting Frentzen, Ralf Schumacher and Barrichello. It's three abreast in the midfield as Irvine tangles with Montoya, leaving the Jaguar driver right at the back. Rubens Barrichello fills Ralf Schumacher's mirrors, forcing an error from the Williams driver, making fourth position easy pickings for the Ferrari number 2. The young German pays dearly for that mistake. Trulli takes fifth and Coulthard is also on the prowl. The Scot drives round both of them with ease, a fantastic move. Barrichello is also looking to make up lost ground. Frentzen makes him fight for it, but the Brazilian is just as stubborn. A 50-50 incident, but the Jordan driver doesn't deserve to lose all this time. Villeneuve and Ralf Schumacher battle for sixth. Two uncompromising drivers, one horrific outcome.
Yeah, Ralf was in the middle of the track and I wasn't sure which way he would let me overtake him, on the inside or the outside. And when I finally went for the outside, that's when he hit the brakes and I had no time to move to the outside.
The safety car is brought on while the battered cars are cleared away. A marshal is in need of urgent hospital treatment after being struck by debris from the collision. After 11 laps, the safety car pulls off and the race is back on. Schumacher leads from Häkkinen, Barrichello, Coulthard, Trulli, Olivier Panis and Nick Heidfeld. Further back, the stars of the future fight for 10th position. Kimi Räikkönen displays skills beyond his experience and takes Jenson Button. More woe for Benetton boss Flavio Briatore as Fisichella is demoted to 10th by Räikkönen and drops into the clutches of Frentzen. As ever, there's a whole range of emotions on the pit wall. Häkkinen is in a state of shock after his sudden and violent departure. The Finn had been challenging for the lead. front suspension failure takes care of the former world champion.
The important thing is that he's unhurt, and there's 16 more races to go.
Coulthard does all he can to reverse his team's fortunes, passing Barrichello for second. Heidfeld also makes easy work of Trulli and moves into 5th position. The leader is in for his first stop, while a terminal misfire retires Trulli's Jordan Honda. Montoya's BMW engine makes more of a fuss on its way out, ending the Williams driver's hopes of a successful F1 debut. Both Williams are out of the race, much to the disappointment of BMW Motorsport director Gerhard Berger and the Colombian, who was running in the points. Coulthard pits from the lead, which he hands straight back to Schumacher. The sole surviving McLaren is far enough ahead to emerge in front of third-placed Barrichello. Frentzen is much closer to Heidfeld. Can the Jordan driver cap a great recovery drive and take 5th place? The veteran has a go around the outside of the youngster, but Heidfeld's wise to that move. Peter Sauber's decision to sign young drivers looks better by the lap. Schumacher's race hasn't been as incident-packed, but is just as impressive. The world champion begins his title defence in dominant fashion. That's his 2nd Australian Grand Prix victory and his 5th consecutive win. Schumacher carries on where he left off in 2000. Once again, Ferrari are the class of the field. Olivier Panis was demoted to 7th for overtaking under waved yellow flags. This gives Raikkonen his first championship point.
Unfortunately, we've just been told that the marshal did die, and obviously we're all shocked about this, and we have to look at what is possible from our side, what kind of support we can give, but certainly everybody is very much down for the situation.
The overriding story of the race is, as Michael's just mentioned, the fatality of the marshal, and I think on behalf of all the drivers, our thoughts go to him and to his family. And we need to obviously study how we can improve track safety to these people who give their time for us to enable us to go racing.
There's never much time to regroup during a Formula One season, but mindful of the tragic events in Australia, the teams and drivers touch down in Malaysia. The Southeast Asian country has one of the continent's most powerful economies. The population is eager to interact with the rest of the world without losing its own identity. Without doubt, Malaysia's Sepang circuit plays host to the hottest, most grueling event on the Grand Prix calendar. Temperatures close to 40 degrees Celsius and humidity levels of almost 50% make for one of the toughest working environments imaginable. McLaren exercise physiologist Andy Matthews explains how he prepares the drivers for the Malaysian Grand Prix.
What we do is we train them in this heat and humidity so they're accustomed when they get here. So we've travelled around Australia trying to find the hottest place we could train in. And hopefully we've prepared the guys well enough to cope with it.
What are the effects of working in such extremes?
We sweat, lose fluid to try and cool ourselves. That loss of fluid then has an impact on how well we do our job, how well these guys perform. So what we try and do is put as much fluid into them as possible. We use special drinks, special concoctions, so that fluid is also held in the body as long as possible to get the maximum effect from it.
The cars also need help to survive the heat. Most teams use a variation on the dry ice theme. They also modify the cars to keep the drivers cool.
The car's got a hole, an air vent in there to help keep the driver cool. It's called a donkey dick, actually. It's because it's a long tube that runs along the bottom of the car. We've also got gel pads in the seat to help cool the driver. We've got a cooling balaclava, and there's a couple of little tricks that we use as well to keep the guys cool.
Do all the teams have these cooling devices?
Well, you know, I'm the wrong team for that. It's Williams, and they look after the technical side and usually not after the drivers in that way. But maybe for next year, we'll see.
I just have a small wing over the top of my helmet to bring a little bit more air inside. And for sure it will be very hard tomorrow. I will have my drink bottle and I will try to save to the end of the race, because for sure I will be, I think, exhausted.
We have only I would say 1 liter of liquid available in the race for drinking. But for sure we're going to lose 3 or 4 liters in that race.
The drivers aren't the only ones who feel the heat.
The focus is always the driver, but you know, we also give the mechanics all the backup we can as well. Those guys are working hard, they're head to toe in fireproof equipment, and yeah, we look after them too.
It's not only the heat that has David Coulthard sweating during qualifying. The Scots' best of 8th fastest was put in the shade by the red-hot performance of Ralf Schumacher. The German's provisional pole indicates that Williams is back as a force to be reckoned with. Not that that surprises Frank Williams or Mario Tyson. Ralph's dominance sets up the battle of the Schumachers. Ross Brawn plays it cool as Michael looks to put one over little brother. The sector times look too good for Ralph's liking as the Ferrari approaches the line. He's done it, his 6th consecutive pole, and Rubens Barrichello takes 2nd to make it an all-Ferrari front row. The BMW Williams-Michelin combination is now a legitimate threat to Michael Schumacher winning his 6th consecutive Grand Prix. It's the end of a long, hot day in Malaysia. Conditions are tough here. As the night falls, everybody will be praying for a break in the heat and humidity on race day.
Now, clouds seem to be gathering. Have you any news of forecast of rain? It was predicted this morning.
There's a possibility of some sprinkling, but I think very unlikely any sort of thunderstorms or anything. The circumstances, the conditions at the moment aren't conducive to a thunderstorm, so hopefully we'll have a complete dry race.
The cars take their positions on the grid, except for Heinz-Harald Frentzen, who's slowed by a computer hardware problem. Fortunately, Fisichella buys him some time.
Carlo, what's going on? Everything is normal, sorry, I made a mistake. You have to start from the back of the grid now. They'll hold you here when everyone else goes off. You'll go round to the back. You follow everyone round on the formation lap and start at the back of the grid.
This is possibly the unfortunate Italian's most embarrassing moment in Formula One. But he's not the only one in trouble. Engine failure strikes Juan Pablo Montoya.
Uli, can we start this? Say yes or no, or we take the T-car. Quickly, Uli, yes or no, can we start it? Repeat, Uli, yes or no, can we start it? No. T-car, T-car. Get him out of the car and put him in the T-car. One, get out of the car, get out of the car, T-car.
So much drama has already occurred and the race has just started. Michael Schumacher is away well as his brother hassles Barrichello. Trulli spots a gap on the inside. Barrichello and Schumacher leave no room for each other and the Williams comes off second best. Midfield mayhem ensues. A terrible Grand Prix for Williams. It will take a minor miracle to salvage Ralph's race now.
Okay, go, 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 go!
His teammate rejoins, hoping to redeem something from this race. Back at the front, Schumacher leads from Barrichello, Trulli, Coulthard, the rejuvenated Frentzen and Jos Verstappen. This incident-packed race is only a lap old and now there's rain to deal with. Traction will be at a premium very shortly. If things weren't slippery enough, oil from Parnas's BAR leads to synchronized offs from Ferrari. Luckily for the Scuderia, they're able to rejoin the race. The heavens have opened and there's panic in the pit lane.
One, safety car, stay out, just try and keep the car on the ground. Change the tyres!
Panic over, but the race is only 5 laps in. McLaren were caught out by the arrival of the safety car and, like most of the field, have changed to full wets. Ferrari opted for intermediates, which could make up for the time lost due to a tyre mix-up. Verstappen is revelling in these atrocious conditions. A light fuel load helps the Arrows pass Frentzen into second. Michael Schumacher is also scything through the field. He muscles his way by his teammate and quickly pounces on 6th place Trulli. Schumacher takes advantage of his intermediates. He quickly disposes of Verstappen and moves up to second. Schumacher looks unstoppable at the moment. The inevitable happens and Coulthard is forced to concede the lead. All that extra traction gifts Barrichello second place, vindicating Ferrari's tyre choice. Frank Williams and Patrick Head look on as Ralf Schumacher and Frentzen squabble over fourth position. The Jordan has the inside line but outbrakes himself. Schumacher takes advantage, but Frentzen isn't phased and outmaneuvers his compatriot. When it comes to slick passing moves, few can beat Michael Schumacher. An inspired tyre choice also helps him to earn his 6th consecutive Grand Prix win.
Okay, Michael, well done. I'm sorry about the drama. Oh, thank you. I should have had a cup of coffee while I was waiting there, but anyway, boys, well done. Well done. Great drive.
His brother made a great recovery to finish 5th ahead of Mika Häkkinen. One of the most exciting races ever was dominated by Ferrari. Coulthard collects valuable World Championship points, while Frentzen helps Jordan to 3rd in the Constructors' Championship. Did the world champion think his race was over in the early stages?
Yes, there was a moment I was thinking I'm going to hit the wall when I went off in turn 6, and I was all thinking now it's gone and it's finished. And I was very lucky to get it back and turn it before the wall, then even come to the pits and then win a race, because I thought my car at least must have damaged the front wing or something as I was bouncing over the gravel. But I mean, thanks to the guys building such a robust car.
Ferrari got the jump on the field in Malaysia by choosing intermediate tyres rather than full wets. Rubens Barrichello explains the decision-making process that blew away the opposition.
Well, basically, Ross is the guy behind every act, but it's on the tires is something that he cannot feel the track. So when it's raining, it's only the driver that could analyze the track and get a feel. So he's always the call is always on the drivers. In the morning, I had run both tires, and I saw the situation. I saw that because it was raining so much that the pace car could come out. So I gave it a shot to the intermediates. Same thing happened to Michael, and it was really good.
Hot on the heels of that dominant display, Rubinho returns home.
Bem-vindo, benvenuti, welcome to São Paulo, Brazil.
Time for the boys from Brazil to get into the picture.
São Paulo is a great city.
It's my home city. I love to be here. It's one of the biggest cities in the world, so you can have options for everything. The Brazilian people love Formula One, you know, we have a huge crowd here.
I miss so much São Paulo that I don't care if I'm in the middle of the traffic in São Paulo. I would rather be there than be in another place.
I know how works the Brazilian traffic, you know. You have to speed a little bit, and I'm Brazilian, so I know the place.
I guess the race starts when you leave the hotel.
Sao Paulo's Interlagos circuit is a world-renowned car breaker. Last year, the bumpy surface caused Sauber to withdraw from the race after both cars suffered rear wing failure.
We know that this is very unforgiving. You can see all the sparks flying out of the car, and the car is travelling at a higher level of ride height than normally it would do. And for those who are involved in understanding that, of course, there's a huge difference, in speed, and also the veracity of the damage that it can cause during a race. In other words, a constant pounding. So the only alternative, certainly for the race, is to raise the car, and you suffer speed as a result of that.
Despite areas of the track being resurfaced, the whole complex is far from ready, only days before the action starts.
I think they did a good job on the track, and the track's much less bumpy, and they improved quite a lot. The organization still had to improve a bit, but I think they get in there.
Brazil is such a great place. It deserves to be a race here, but they really could do with doing something with the track in terms of knocking the place down and starting again if they can.
All aspirations to become a circuit designer were quickly forgotten, as out came the Dancing Girls for Eddie Jordan's 53rd birthday. Brazilian football legend Pelé tries a Prost out for size. However, the fun's now over. It's time to get down to the serious business of qualifying. This session proved especially tense for BMW Williams.
I think we felt we had the potential to be on the front row and maybe on the best side of the front row, and Juan had obviously been very quick in the morning, so it was obviously a bit disappointing to see him caught out at turn 11 on his first flying lap. And I gather I jumped up and down a bit and it was caught on camera, but anyway, he did a very good recovery job when he came back and got into the T car. And I think Ralph felt that it would have been possible to at least match his brother's time. Anyway, second and fourth for us at the moment is pretty good, and we're not complaining.
Neither are the Schumachers, who become the first brothers to share a Formula One front row. While the rest of the world is preoccupied with the Schumacher brothers, the Brazilians motivate their man. But even this much support can't get rid of Barrichello's Interlagos jinx. His Ferrari lets him down on the installation lap minutes before the start. Just getting on the grid will be a victory in itself.
We have 3 minutes. The T-car is for Michael and Rubens use a different setup in the car.
It's a big job. Pedals, seat, belts, the whole thing, because Rubens brakes with his right foot, Michael with his left, so it's a lot.
Rubinho's disciples breathe a sigh of relief. His mechanics have worked a minor miracle. He can now take up his 6th place on the grid.
So much going on. Even Michael's mechanics were there on my car on the grid. I was just sweating so much. To be honest with you, I had 5% of time to think that I could do well. All I cared at that time was to get ready for me to start.
Häkkinen's stall causes chaos behind as the world champion gets the jump on the field. Ralf Schumacher loses out to Montoya, Coulthard and Trulli. Häkkinen retires for the second time. The safety car is deployed to buy them some time, something that Häkkinen has plenty of, thanks to a hydraulic failure. After just one lap, the safety car pulls in and Schumacher tries to pull away again. Montoya's engine has the power and the Colombian has the courage to dive down the inside, forcing the Ferrari wide and into the path of Coulthard. The Williams pit crew bask in the glory of their new star. But their established talent isn't so lucky. That's the third consecutive collision for Ralf Schumacher and Barrichello's 8th retirement in 9 Brazilian Grand Prix.
Ralf was trying to overtake someone on the inside, and then he just changed the line completely and braked. And now I wasn't expecting someone to come from the other side of the track to the right and brake.
Back at the front, Montoya is living up to his pre-season hype, resisting immense pressure from Schumacher. The former F3000 and Champ Car title holder has the power advantage and the skills to keep the best in the business behind him. Ralf Schumacher should have been showcasing his talent, a front row slot wasted. In comes Michael Schumacher from second place for his first of 2 scheduled stops. This strategy should have seen the German well ahead of his one-stopping rivals. Schumacher's stop promotes Coulthard to second. Clouds gather over Interlagos. Any rain will throw strategies out the window and jeopardize the chances of 6th place Nick Heidfeld getting in the points for Sauber. Montoya has done nothing to compromise his prospects of victory, and he's now lapping the back markers such as Jos Verstappen.
What happened? I don't know, he moved to the left to let me by, and I guess on the braking he just got behind me and couldn't stop the car.
He braked very early, and that was it. I couldn't avoid him anymore, and I'm really sorry to him because I heard he was leading the race.
This leaves Coulthard in front. He's already stopped, but it's starting to rain. Advantage Schumacher. Panic stations in the BAR pit as conditions get worse. David Coulthard opts not to go into the pits, as Schumacher is in for intermediates and setup adjustments. Have Ferrari won the tactical battle again? Parnis looked good for a podium finish, but queuing behind his teammate has cost him. Coulthard is finally in for his intermediates. His setup was chosen with wet conditions in mind, but is it too late to take advantage? Fortunately for the Scot, Schumacher's legendary wet weather ability deserts him. Does the Rain Master have the wrong setup? The world champion's mistake allows Coulthard to close. He has the inside line and cleverly uses Marquez's Minardi to snatch the lead. That superb move gets an official seal of approval.
I think that was a fantastic move and one of the best ones I ever saw. What I do not understand is the performance of Michael right now. I mean, how can he be 5 seconds quicker in Malaysia and now not? But let's wait and see. Now he's in the gravel.
More handling woes for Schumacher. A 7th consecutive win is out of the question. His brother isn't faring much better. A spin ends his extended test session. Trulli's also in trouble. A questionable switch to wet tyres lets Heidfeld into fourth. Eddie Jordan's spirits sink further when Frenzen's clutch costs the German third place. Heidfeld's up to third, and Panis rubs salt into the wound and takes fourth, making up for BAR's pit stop problems. David Coulthard will be anything but down as he approaches the finish to win the Brazilian Grand Prix. Not Ralf Schumacher's idea of a good drive-in movie. Coulthard takes his first win of the season and ends Ferrari's domination of Formula One. Peter Sauber's team defies its critics as Nick Heidfeld claims his first podium finish. A good setup helped, but David Coulthard's 10th victory was perhaps his most impressive ever.
We had a good strategy. We took a good gamble on what to do with the setup for the wet conditions, and I'm just really pleased for the whole team that we can for once show that we can work the strategies, we can make the right decisions on tyres and these sort of issues, because I feel that we get criticised quite often because when we've been the best car, if you don't win, then people think that you're doing a bad job, where in reality you can see we are hungry and we can achieve the goal.
The Scot cuts Schumacher's lead to 6 points, and Panis has made up for his Australian penalty. Heidfeld's great drive moves Sauber up to third in the Constructors' Championship, but the top two remain the same. 39 Grand Prix have passed since the Swiss team's last podium finish, but Coulthard claimed the ultimate prize.
Great drive. It was good, very good.
There will be the time when our winning time is over, where we have to suffer maybe for a while. I hope the while is a short while, and we continue winning in Imola.
After the excitement of Brazil, the teams take the long flight over the Atlantic Ocean into Europe, the heart of the Formula One World Championship. The first of the 11 European rounds is the San Marino Grand Prix at the Imola circuit, situated in the Romagna region of northeast Italy. Italians have a strong sense of tradition, and their love of good food, wine, and fashion is matched only by their passion for motorsport. The start of the European season sees the return of the motorhomes. These palaces on wheels are immediately put to the test at Imola as they try to park in one of the smallest paddocks on the Grand Prix circuit. The drivers have handled that task with their usual precision, and now it's time to turn these mobile mansions over to the managers and VIPs.
This is our new motorhome. We have it specially for the European race. It's quite exciting, lots of nice things to see. Do you want to come and take a look? This is where we do all our corporate hospitality, entertaining the media and sponsors. Come and join us here for lunch and dinner. The really exciting stuff, however, is indoors. Come and have a look. Here we have the offices for marketing and PR. This is where we write all the press releases and the communications information for the media. Now we're getting to the really good bit. This is the office of Eddie Jordan. Finally, we come to the room of one of our major sponsors, Deutsche Post, where they can come and enjoy watching the race. So I wonder where Eddie Jordan's been hiding. Here he is. We found him in the back of the bus, having a bit of physiotherapy in the driver's massage room.
Jarno Trulli is as chilled as his boss during qualifying, just as well as a drying track tests the patience of the drivers. There's only seconds to go before the end of the session. Barely enough time for the Italian to grab provisional second position behind Häkkinen. The big guns have also left it late. Coulthard saves his best till last. Michael Schumacher also needs to pull out a last gasp hot lap. But the world champion just can't match Coulthard's pace. Mika Häkkinen ensures an all-McLaren front row. And Michael's own brother rubs salt into the wound, dropping him to 4th. Test driver Alex Wurz shares in the joy of beating Ferrari on their own doorstep. Schumacher's pole streak ends courtesy of the Scot.
We had some problems in the morning session which took a while to get the car sorted for the start of the session. And anyway, the guys worked very hard. They were up until 4 o'clock last night, so building another car, and I think they've done a great job. So it's a surprise, but delighted to get the pole position. And I'm putting it down to the glasses, because I saw Mika wearing his blue ones last week, so I thought I had to go for orange this week.
Never mind blue or orange, the McLaren boys' mood is distinctly rose-tinted. But will they be that way after the race? Coulthard gets plenty of wheel spin, opening the door for Ralf Schumacher, who uses all of the track to take the lead, as Trulli goes up the inside of Häkkinen for 3rd. Can the Williams stay in one piece and give Ralf his first Grand Prix win? It's been a long time since a Williams won a Grand Prix, but Imola's lack of overtaking opportunities will give them a good shot. A gear change glitch hinders Michael's chances of victory, dropping him to 7th. Even Ross Brawn will struggle to help Ferrari's number 1 as he comes under threat from his teammate. The German's loss of momentum makes him an easy target. Barrichello quickly lines up Parnis. The Brazilian breaks that little bit later and takes 6th at Rivazza, leaving Parnis to fight off the recovering Schumacher. Trulli is proving more resolute in 3rd, but the Jordan driver is definitely holding up Häkkinen. Rookie exuberance is even more of a hindrance to Minardi's Fernando Alonso. A loose steering wheel achieves similar results for Kimi Räikkönen. More problems for Schumacher. A left front puncher compounds his dreadful weekend.
The result was a puncture, but there was something else wrong. I don't know what, which destroyed the rim, and that was the reason for the puncture. Out of precaution, Ross told me to stop, and I was quite happy because I saw the brake was a bit damaged, and you never know what can be the consequence. And here, you need the brakes a lot.
Jarno Trulli has done well to stay in 3rd, but this early pit stop will undo his hard work. It's Montoya's turn in the pits. Can he get out ahead of Trulli? It's very close, but Trulli's fast outlaps give him the edge. The Williams team look on as their Colombian prodigy muscles his way into 6th at Tamburello. A great move. The mechanics will also have a say in the fight for third. Häkkinen is in first, but this is a golden opportunity for Ferrari and Barrichello. Can Ferrari gain revenge on McLaren for the loss of pole? It's another triumph for the prancing horse, but at least Häkkinen will get another chance. Unlike Gaston Mazzacane. Poor performances have put his drive with Prost in grave danger, and engine failure won't help. Villeneuve's exit is much more spectacular.
It's been a very difficult start of the season. It's been a bad qualifying yesterday. And we worked hard to get up to 6th and to have a mechanical failure. I'm not sure if it's engine or a gearbox. It was very frustrating.
Frustration doesn't even begin to describe how Montoya's feeling right now, as a clutch problem makes his pit stop last for an eternity. He manages to rejoin the race, but for how long?
The engine died. Something's happened. Have a look.
Did you copy that? He's saying the engine died. I'm assuming out of the last couple of corners. I don't know if you can see anything.
Yeah, we heard it, Tim, but it's pretty bad telemetry coverage, so we'll have to look at the download.
You know, so it seems that every race something breaks, and this time, you know, like 5 laps before the pit stop, I got an alarm of the clutch and came into the pit, and I couldn't engage any more gears or anything.
Montoya's woes are temporarily forgotten as the Williams team prepare to greet the man who will end their 4-year victory drought and win his first Grand Prix.
Yeah! Well done, Ralph. Well done. Well done, everybody. At last.
It's also been an historic race for BMW. Gerhard Berger celebrates their first win since his victory in Mexico 15 years ago. Coulthard's 6 points put him level with Michael Schumacher in the Drivers' Championship, while Barrichello consolidates third position in the title race. Michael Schumacher is the first to congratulate his brother, who's also a big hit with his boss.
Everyone deserves this. They all worked hard as everybody else does. And Ralph triumphed magnificently today. He had it well under control all of the time.
Nearly the same as last year, remember?
At the start? Yeah, but I moved when I saw you, yeah.
I don't begrudge them the race win at all. It's, you know, they're going to win some more races, but whether they can catch us in the championship remains to be seen.
It won't be too long before Karina Schumacher will be celebrating a family 1-2.
It's a bit of a shame. I would have liked Michael next to me, but it didn't work out today. Maybe another time.
Michelin also shared the glory, just 4 races after their return to Formula One.
On one way, it's absolutely unexpected. On the other way, we had all elements from the BMW, from Williams, to put everything together. But the trick is to put anything together. And thanks to Ralph, thanks to everybody, finally we did it, which is great, absolutely.
After the disappointment of Imola, the Ferrari team leave their home circuit to start leg 2 of the long European Tour. Round 5 sees the teams arrive in the Mediterranean splendor of Spain. Dynamic, modern, but with a respect for the past, Barcelona has something for everyone. The Spanish Grand Prix at the Circuit de Catalunya will be a significant race for several reasons. Spain's own Pedro de la Rosa will debut for Jaguar, forcing their former number 2, Luciano Berti, to find sanctuary at Prost, pushing out Mazzacane. However, the big story is the return of traction control for the first time since 1993. Just how does this device benefit the drivers?
Basically, it makes it easier for the driver to get the maximum drive potential out of the tyres. So in the past, he would have to approach the limit gradually, perhaps leaving a little bit of a margin. And then if track conditions meant that he overstepped that maximum, he would get excessive wheel spin. And when you get wheel spin, you lose drive force as well as losing cornering force. So traction control allows the driver to go right the way to the limit without any fear of overstepping it.
Traction control has been reintroduced to ensure technical equality between the teams. Its return has been met with mixed views.
It was very necessary to liberalize the system because it's not good for the image of Formula One that you can say that somebody could cheat, and even if nobody were cheating, but they were using maybe the rules in a different way, and at this point it's very good.
On the other hand, probably it's not nice for a Formula One driver because now we got a lot of help from the electronic system, as anti-spin, as automatic start.
You know, the best driver, the best car, the best team is always they're always going to use this system as an advantage. Bad driver can use a lot of traction control to help himself to be confident, but he's going to be slow. And a good driver can use that as a different tool, and he could use that for his own performance and performance of the car.
But which teams will hit the ground running?
Definitely some engineering community will be in advance compared to others, and we don't know yet if Ferrari, McLaren, BMW or Renault or anybody who will be the most advanced.
You don't normally associate Minardi with technical advancement, but Fernando Alonso lines up 18th ahead of both Benettons. Happier times for the Flying Finn, who qualifies second behind Michael Schumacher. Was he helped by the new system?
Yeah, like I said, I disconnected the traction control in the end, so it helped me a little bit in some problems where I had some understeer, so it was good, but generally, yeah, it was a big push.
On reflection, Häkkinen tried to clarify his earlier comments.
But to switch it off completely is maybe not exactly 100%.
Less.
It's not only that's not either the right one.
It's the last chance for the mechanics to work on the cars, as they're joined by a choice selection of guests. Michael Douglas, Catherine Zeta-Jones and football ace Patrick Kluivert are on hand to witness this milestone race. It's unlikely that King Juan Carlos is discussing launch control with Häkkinen.
I don't think it's actually going to go well for the whole grid, but hopefully we've worked hard enough to eliminate our own problems, but I think it's a better way to go.
Ron Dennis may quickly change his mind as Coulthard stalls on the grid. Faulty launch control and the rules ensure that third on the grid becomes 22nd and last. Ron Dennis realises there's still plenty of work to be done as Coulthard prepares for a long day at the office. The other systems work well, apart from those on Frenson's Jordan. Luckily for the German, it's just a temporary blip. Michael Schumacher leads from Häkkinen. Ralf Schumacher defends third from Barrichello and Trulli, as Montoya is up to 6th from 12th on the grid. Ralf Schumacher's defences are quickly broken down by Barrichello, who takes third. There's little room for manoeuvre at the back, especially for the impatient Coulthard. His team have a new nose ready, but once again the Scot will be relegated to last place. At the front, Michael Schumacher leads from Häkkinen, Barrichello and Ralf Schumacher. Fisichella leads the battle for 15th as Frentzen gets a wheel on the grass and spins into De La Rosa. A disastrous outcome for all concerned. Patrick Head keeps his eyes glued to the timing pages, but Ralf Schumacher can't achieve that sort of adhesion on the track and spins out of 4th. Ralph's teammate shows how it should be done in pursuit of new 4th-place man Trulli. The Colombian's pit crew prepare for his first stop. This will temporarily end his chase. But the Italian is coming in at the same time, setting up a Williams-Jordan battle of the mechanics. Will Montoya's advance up the order be continued in the pit lane, or will Jordan ensure that it ends here? It's touch and go, but Williams are victorious. The chase is on to catch Villeneuve, who has yet to stop.
You're watching Villeneuve's lap times, yeah? You're watching the gap to Villeneuve. Really, if the gap stays the same and Villeneuve comes in, we have to respond, I think, otherwise he's going to get us.
Will the BAR pit crew fulfill Jordan's worst-case scenario? Villeneuve loses out to Montoya, but still moves up to 5th at the expense of Trulli. Good work from BAR, but team principal Craig Pollock isn't celebrating just yet. Michael Schumacher looks to have his race well under control. He still leads Häkkinen after their first stops. His teammate is holding down a solid 3rd, until mechanical problems intervene. The Brazilian rejoins, but is his Ferrari badly damaged? Unfortunately for the Spanish Tifosi, the answer is yes. Rear suspension failure ends Barrichello's race. The world champion makes his second and final stop. This will drop him to 2nd behind Häkkinen. The ball is now in McLaren's court. The Finn has put in some blistering lap times. Now his mechanics have to do their bit. Whoever's ahead at the first corner will surely win this race. It looks as though Mika Häkkinen will end his 8-race victory drought. His wife Eija and the rest of the team are already in party mood, whilst Coulthard storms up to 7th, and he's not finished yet. The Scots on the outside of Heidfeld-Sauber. He moves to lap Fisichella and still manages to take 6th and move into the points. The world champion is over a minute ahead of Montoya, but too far behind to threaten the Finn during the last lap. But it's all gone dreadfully wrong for Häkkinen. Clutch failure slows him to a crawl and stuns everybody in the McLaren garage. Schumacher can hardly believe his luck as he drives past the grounded Silver Arrow. You have to feel for the Finn, this is a horrible way to lose a race. The Ferrari #1 didn't really earn this win, but they all count. The usual Schumacher celebration is conspicuous by its absence. Juan Pablo Montoya crosses the line in 2nd, to the great relief of his fans and his team. Coulthard's impressive recovery drive brought him to 5th, but that's little consolation for the team who were robbed of certain victory. Although obscured by Häkkinen's rotten luck, this is a race of firsts. Jacques Villeneuve earns BAR's first ever podium finish, and Montoya also takes his first taste of F1 champagne. A race finish at last for the talented Colombian.
First 4 races been
very hard for me. We've been some competitive and some not so much. Here, you know, I wasn't expecting to be in the podium really. I started 11th and the start was really good and moved me a lot of places up, and then just kept pushing all day long.
The team did a great job in the pit stops, and that allowed us to jump truly in the first pit stop, and then we just hang in there.
Mika has really done everything right, and then something like this, 5 corners or whatever to go to the end, it's shocking. I went to see him because it's not the way you like to win a race, honestly, but then sometimes it happens. I mean, in racing it has happened to me, and it has happened now to Mika.
It wasn't just the end of the race that caused headaches for McLaren. In Spain, Coulthard made his second bad start, hampered rather than helped by the new driver aids.
After the MLS start, where we got a lot of wheel spin, I thought, well, at least we won't have that problem at all again with the traction control. The problem in Barcelona was that we had a software glitch, in that the car, as you start the car on the grid before you go to your green flag lap, then because we'd never done that in practice, we'd always started the car, driven out of the garage, gone to the end of the pit lane and done a start. The car had actually recognised wheel speed. So if you imagine on the grid starting it and going straight into a launch control, the software tells the car, well, you must still be in the garage. So as a safety mechanism, it switched off the engine. The software's been changed. It took 5 minutes for them to rewrite the code, so that'll never happen again.
Apart from the technical aspects, what does the Scot have to do to maintain pressure on the world champion?
We have to be going for victories. We still need to improve the car. We're not getting as much out of it as Ferrari are in qualifying, and that's the key area.
The Spanish Grand Prix saw the return of the Flying Finn. Will his luck change in Austria? Mountains cover 2/3 of this country, best known for its famous ski resorts. Its lakes also provide breathtaking scenery. The capital city, Vienna, is a living museum, rich with priceless art treasures. Austria has also produced motorsport legends such as Jochen Rindt and Niki Lauda. To the southwest of Vienna, and situated in the heart of the Styrian region, is Austria's Grand Prix circuit, the A1 Ring. Minardi arrived under a cloud due to the loss of a key team member.
Gustav Brunner, your technical director, has left the team. When did you find out that he was going off to Toyota?
Bank holiday Monday, I walked in and accidentally picked up a fax on the general fax machine, a one-pager that said, "Sorry, I have no good news, I've left and joined Toyota." He's in breach of contract and will be pursuing it through the courts vigorously.
A few garages down, Sauber's Nick Heidfeld celebrates his 24th birthday. In Brazil, he earned his first podium finish. Is he surprised by the team's great start to the season?
In the beginning of the season, I tried to be in the points. That worked out immediately. And then my next goal was to be on the podium, but I didn't think that it would work out this season.
Raikkonen has been just as impressive. What are Heidfeld's views on his teammate?
Yeah, I think he coped with the pressure very, very well, especially in the beginning of the season, didn't do any mistakes. He showed that he was quick already in testing, I've seen that, so I was not surprised by the results and by the pace he has set so far.
Does the young Finn feel he's surprised his peers?
Yeah, maybe, but in the end, it's more important for me that the season starts well and I did some good races.
Sauber's sustained form gives the team an opportunity to break the 100-point barrier after 8 years of competition. Can they do it so close to home?
Well, I think it would be very nice for the team to get 100 points, but we don't really say, oh, no, it's even more important to get the points than it is on other races. We try to do our best, we try to beat each other and try to go on the points, that's it.
David Coulthard won't be tasting champagne after qualifying, confirming his earlier fears. Going in the wrong direction on setup leaves Coulthard and Häkkinen 7th and 8th. Conversely, it's 5 poles out of 6 for Michael Schumacher, who's joined on the front row by Juan Pablo Montoya. Is the Colombian confident of repeating his good start in Spain?
I think starting 12 to 6, it was a great start. I think from there to now, I think everybody got the system more prepared. I think our system is even better than last time. So tomorrow we could have a pretty good start, I think.
Whoever leads after the first corner will be hoping not to encounter the local wildlife, as Montoya did earlier in the day.
One in this lap, please, in this lap. We've seen a deer on the circuit. We believe it's somewhere on the circuit, so just come in cautiously, please. Oh, deer. Yeah, deer. Like a horse with horns. I know. Oh, dear.
The peace and tranquility of the Styrian region will be shattered on Sunday afternoon. From 2 o'clock, they'll echo to the sound of super-powerful V10 Formula One engines. The mechanics leave the grid, hopeful their launch control systems are fully sorted this time.
I have a gearbox problem. Paul, the engine. What is the problem? Gearbox is broken.
The Williams drivers leave the mayhem and Michael Schumacher behind, with Juan Pablo Montoya leading the charge. Frenzen's gearbox is jammed, but for Trulli, Häkkinen and Heidfeld, launch control is a contradiction in terms.
Fire it up and get it out of here, down the pit lane. They got any telemetry data out this gearbox.
Frenzen's cause is lost and all the data in the world won't save Häkkinen's race now. Like Heidfeld, Trulli is able to rejoin, but ignoring a red light will cost him. Irvine's possession of 6 may be just temporary, as Verstappen is set to pounce. The leaders round the tight Remus curve as the arrows-like fuel load lets it blast by the Jaguar. Will team boss Tom Walkinshaw reap the benefits of a 2-stop strategy? It certainly looks that way. The Dutchman lines up 5th place Coulthard. As in Malaysia, the Asiatech-powered car looks most impressive, adopting the low fuel approach. Trulli's tactics are about to catch up with him.
Bring him in and retire him, Gary. Early they've disqualified him. He left the pit lane with the red light on.
The Italian's disqualification rounds off a terrible weekend for the Jordan team. Montoya is untroubled up front, unlike his teammate who's holding up the Ferraris.
I got a brake pedal problem quite long. Could check out why. Everything looks okay here. You're 54% brake power.
Evidently, that's not enough to keep him on the road or do much for his relationship with the team. Ferrari pick up the pieces while Ralph vents his anger.
Everything is okay. Okay. Thanks, guys. Coming into the pit.
An understandably apprehensive pit crew wait for Ralph's arrival to carry out an immediate post-mortem on the failed rear brake. The investigations will probably last longer than Ralph's race. Jacques Villeneuve has 9th place in his sights as he powers up to Irvine. He tries a spot of rallycross, but only succeeds in dropping himself down the order. As forecast by Michelin, their tyres go through a lean spell, forcing Montoya into the grasp of the Ferraris. Are his defences up to the task, or will he be easy prey? Montoya fights off the attentions of Schumacher, but then sacrifices his race. Ross Brawn's annoyed, but at least there's a Ferrari at the front now. Barrichello leads from Verstappen, who will surely have to pit in soon. There seems to be no stopping Raikkonen this season, who's running an impressive fourth behind Coulthard. The Arrows driver makes the first of 2 stops. Can the Dutchman slice through the field once again? Schumacher begins his fight back. 4th-placed Olivier Panis is his first victim. Raikkonen is next in line and decides not to get in the way. In contrast, Montoya's recovery is short-lived.
We lost hydraulic pressure, I think, and lost gears and throttle and everything.
Reliability is definitely Williams' Achilles heel. Schumacher has his sights set on the lead. A quick stop will help. Coulthard hits the front as Barrichello also makes his first and only stop. The German looks odds-on to move up, but ragged driving won't help his cause. David Coulthard has been able to stay out longer, and that could be the key to keeping the lead. Barrichello rounds the final corner as Coulthard exits. Have McLaren done enough? Schumacher looks set to give valuable championship points away to the Scot unless Barrichello gets ahead. It's another nail-biter for the big two as the leaders approach the first corner. The crowd's reaction tells the story. The world champion has his work cut out for him now. However, Schumacher's championship challenge is always at the top of Ferrari's agenda. Sporting director Jean Todt has a tough decision to make.
Rubens, it's last lap. Let Michael pass for the championship. Let Michael pass for the championship, Rubens, please.
Barrichello lets his teammate by at the last possible moment. Ron Dennis and the McLaren chief celebrate Coulthard's victory on the day team orders ruled at Ferrari.
Hai fatto una gara fantastica, Rubens. Grazie. Hai fatto il gioco della squadra.
Almost hidden by the controversy was Kimi Raikkonen's mature drive to 4th place, ahead of Verstappen, who claims Arrow's first point of the season. Coulthard was less inclined to celebrate due to the death on Saturday of Paul Morgan, the co-founder of Ilmor Engineering, the company that built Mercedes engines for McLaren.
From where I was in the grid, obviously having qualified 7th, it was important to start heavy and just to have the options open depending on how the race went. I was able to lean the engine out early on after the first few laps and save quite a few laps of fuel, as well as obviously with the safety car, and that enabled us to go quite long.
Coulthard's second win of the season puts him to within 4 points of Michael Schumacher, but it could have easily been 2. Ferrari are running away with the Constructors' Championship, while Raikkonen took Sauber past the 100-point barrier. Austria saw relations between Barrichello and the Ferrari team reach rock bottom, whilst Coulthard's stock rose within McLaren following his 10th victory for the English team. The Scot basked in the glory of victory, while Barrichello was bitter over the loss of 2nd place.
Rubens. Va bene, io non dico niente.
Rubens, you were 2nd until the last corner, and then you pulled over to let Michael through. Why was that?
The team has asked me to do that.
Rubens, it's last lap. Let Michael pass for the championship. Let Michael pass for the championship, Rubens, please.
Rubens eventually followed team orders. But what was the view of a former world champion?
I guess there was no choice. You know it from the beginning when you sign your contract, and that's when you make your decision. Yeah, if you accept it when you sign your contract, then you don't have a leg to stand on later. So I don't see anything wrong with it.
That's fair enough, because I said when I first came into here, before I came, that I was quite prepared to drive for Ferrari, which would be a dream. if it wasn't written on my contract that I had to let him by. But if it was written that I had to follow instructions, then I would agree.
The drivers now make a beeline to the nearby military airbase to board their private jets. The only way to travel to the millionaire's paradise that is Monte Carlo.
Ciao. Piacere, piacere.
Most of Jean Alesi's peers live in the Principality of Monaco, the venue for the next Grand Prix. Do the Jordan drivers treat their home race any differently?
I feel home, I am home, so it's a more relaxing Grand Prix.
I have to say I'm not really jealous about the other people having a good time here, but later, when I'm getting in the age, then maybe I will appreciate as well the lifetime at night, but at the moment I don't care.
Rubens Barrichello chooses to spend his free time on the fairways with Brazilian soccer superstar Ronaldo. Will the Ferrari star win a golf trophy to go alongside his motor racing honours?
I hope not in golf, but I hope with the Formula One. I think it's been a wonderful day here in the golf course, and it was a pleasure to play with Ronaldo. We have a lot of fun. Sometimes we miss the ball, and it's just a good laugh.
While the Greens are the perfect place to relax for Barrichello, the Benetton boys choose to cruise around the harbour.
Must be £10 million. I live over the east coast of Monaco, the east side of Monaco, and it's very quiet normally. But I mean, it's so busy now, isn't it? But it's good. I like this Grand Prix. It is a very busy Grand Prix for the drivers and the sponsors and everything, but it's also quite relaxing in the evenings. It's nice.
It's the most important Grand Prix in Formula One. And when you get on the podium, it's a little bit better for you to get on the podium here than the other circuit.
The Monaco street circuit presents plenty of challenges for the teams. Cramped conditions in the pit lane are just the tip of the iceberg.
I think it's harder for the team and the mechanics, and you know they have to push the car up to the garages and down, and if they want to go on a weight bridge, and you know they have to go down again, and so it's very hard work for them. As well, we have to walk a lot and always with a lot of people around you, and it makes it harder. Yes.
Pit stops are especially dangerous.
Of course, it's very small, and you have to be careful that you don't hit somebody. But I mean, the speed here is 60 kilometers, so normally everything should go all right.
It was far from all right for Arrows and Jordan during the first session, as both teams tried to introduce innovative downforce aids for the tight, twisty street circuit. The FIA moved quickly to ban the devices due to concerns about their structural integrity. On Saturday, all eyes were on David Coulthard, who put to rest his early season fears about his team's qualifying pace. The Scot took pole, while Michael Schumacher lines up second, setting up another intense struggle between the championship front-runners. As always, the Monaco Grand Prix is a mecca for the beautiful people. To reinforce the pomp and circumstance, Prince Albert takes a drive around the legendary circuit. Michael Schumacher will find it tough to get ahead of his main rival on a circuit where pole position is most sought after. However, the best laid plans fall apart instantly if your launch control lets you down. For the second time this season, Coulthard is forced to the back of the grid. However, if he doesn't get there before the medical car, he'll have to start from the pit lane. The Scots' race effectively starts on the warm-up lap. He's made it. Now there's just the matter of the 20 cars between himself and Schumacher. The new poleman is away well. Barrichello tucks in behind Hakkinen. Ralf Schumacher fights off Irvine to stay fourth. And the Ulsterman now has Montoya to deal with. Thankfully, everybody has got through the first few corners safely, but the Grand Hotel hairpin is the acid test. There's little room for manoeuvre around here, and it doesn't get any easier further on. Nick Heidfeld is the Armco's latest victim. Another former F3000 champion is running fifth. But Montoya is yet another rookie to succumb to the magnetic attraction of the Monaco barriers. The Colombian won't be looking forward to his early post-race debrief. Near the back, Coulthard is up to 18th, behind both arrows. Bernoldi lets Verstappen through, but isn't so gracious to Coulthard. The Scot can't afford to stay there for too long. No such hassles for Schumacher, who's away and clear. The world champion has been pressurised by Hakkinen, but a front suspension problem handicaps the luckless Finn. Hakkinen lets Barrichello through into second. Adrian Newey and Ron Dennis find it hard to deal with another Hakkinen retirement. He's only scored 4 points so far this season. Pedro de la Rosa also had a short afternoon.
Coming to the back, I lost the gears and the throttle. I guess it's a hydraulic problem. I'm not sure. That was the end of a shitty Grand Prix for me.
Schumacher may give Coulthard a chance to avoid that fate.
Ignore the blue flags, ignore the blue flags, but keep pushing, keep pushing. Next man is the leader, next man is the leader. Leader right behind. Don't lose a place to Coulthard.
Although it's very frustrating for the Scot, Bernoldi follows his team's orders to the letter. A podium finish looks more remote by the lap. That won't stop Coulthard trying, though. Trulli is also putting maximum effort into his defence of 5th place, but it's all for naught. Not the sort of seaside barbecue Eddie Jordan likes. Coulthard's temper may also be ready to boil over. Can he use Irvine to finally pass Bernoldi? Yet again, the Brazilian frustrates the Scot.
I was calling to the team to have him disqualified for having a bad dress sense and a dodgy haircut because I couldn't think of anything else.
Villeneuve will be far more content as he looks on course to pick up more points. Fisichella could score his first of the season. Flavio Briatore is understandably tense as Fisichella starts another lap. And almost immediately ends his race.
Yeah, I lost the hydraulic pressure in downshift, so I lost the control of the car and spun off.
A sight for sore eyes for McLaren. Bernoldi is in for his first and only stop. Free of the Brazilian, Coulthard is lapping some 5 seconds faster, while impatience slows his new foe. A bad line is even more costly for Heinz-Harald Frentzen. That's Jordan's second consecutive double retirement. Williams will soon gain that distinction as Ralf Schumacher is in trouble. Frank Williams realizes the game's up, but that hasn't occurred to his pit crew. It's not all doom and gloom for the Schumachers, as Michael takes his 4th win of the season. The German slows to take a formation finish with Barrichello. Ex-teammate Irvine earns Jaguar's first ever podium finish, to the relief of his boss Bobby Rahal. The British team still has a long way to go before they can threaten Ferrari, who claim their second 1-2 of the season. Schumacher's good friend Jean Alesi has claimed his and Prost's first point of the year. But you can't fit a donut in La Rascasse. Ahead of the ecstatic Frenchmen were David Coulthard and Jacques Villeneuve. Although it could have been much more, those 2 points could prove extremely valuable to the Scots Championship Challenge. In the meantime, Schumacher can let his Monaco victory sink in with the aid of a little champagne. Victory always tastes sweeter at Monaco. The crowd toast the new master of Monte Carlo. So what's his secret?
I don't know what is so special. I certainly love that circuit. I have always found it easier to find my setup, which is very important again here, to throw around the car through the corners. But you have to be lucky to some degree as well.
Yeah, it's fantastic to get a podium, and especially here, you know. To have 2 Ferraris and a Jaguar on the podium in Monaco's really what Formula One's about in a way. We've got to see if we can consistently get up here, though. That's, you know, Monaco's a strange circuit, and we've been quick here all weekend. Let's hope we can carry that speed into Canada.
Now the teams head back across the Atlantic. As thousands of spectators flock to the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve, 2 teams arrive still at odds. Ron Dennis and McLaren are still furious with Bernoldi over his refusal to let Coulthard by during the Monaco Grand Prix.
To qualify why I called him an idiot is because I felt that he was weaving on the track in a way that, as a group of drivers, we agreed you don't do. You know, there was a couple of occasions on the track, and only I can judge this, and only you can take my word for it, that I felt were outside the agreement that we have as drivers.
I was in a racing situation, and I just was concentrating to do my own speed. My own speed was much slower than David, but Monaco is a difficult circuit to overtake, and I was not there to be on television. I was just there to do my race and to do my job.
More controversy, this time concerning Adrian Newey. It looked as though Jaguar had secured his services for 2002, but that's hotly contested by McLaren.
Everybody in life changes their mind. It happens to all of us. He changed his mind.
However, that excuse doesn't wash with Jaguar boss Bobby Rahal.
Quote, "It does not matter how big a company is or whether it's an employer or an employee. When you enter into a contract agreement or an agreement that is effectively a contract, they should honor it unless the parties agree to end it or change it. Those are the only circumstances in which it's correct," unquote. That was Ron at the Austrian Grand Prix, and of course I agree wholeheartedly with Ron.
What has been presented to you has been misleading, has not been factual, and as things unfold, at the appropriate time, you'll come to appreciate that.
To me, somebody that signs a contract should honour it, and I've said before, I think it's high time that we did something along the lines of a contract recognition board to stop this situation happening in the first place. I mean, what's happened to me has happened, but it's now happened with Jaguar and McLaren. Who is it going to be tomorrow? Where is it going to stop?
For Heinz-Harald Frentzen, it all stops on Friday.
The car went at quite some speed into the back of the walls. The worst possible accident you can have because it bangs your head backwards, not just a whiplash, but it gave him dizziness and he didn't feel he was fit enough to run the race, and we spoke to Sid and we've had to replace him with Ricardo Zonta.
It's quite difficult to come back, and it's worse than the first Grand Prix, you know, because the first Grand Prix you have more time to know, oh, this will be my first Grand Prix, and I had the notes last night, you know, I didn't have time to, oh, I'm gonna race, I just straight to qualifying.
Despite his lack of preparation, the Brazilian qualified a respectable 12th. Rubens Barrichello had more laps in the bag, but still fell foul of the infamous Wall of Champions. The replay shows that running over the curbs at the final corner will send you on a collision course. Barrichello's accident brought out the red flags. Nick Heidfeld became the next victim with only 1.5 minutes to go. Fortunately, like Barrichello, the German walked away. His compatriot avoided the danger zone as he challenged his brother for provisional pole position. In the dying moments of the session, David Coulthard was on a quick lap that looked like threatening Michael's pole time. At the very least, the Scot needed to be close to the world champion to stay in the hunt for the driver's title. A great lap, but not good enough to keep the Schumacher brothers off the front row. Schumacher turns his attention to the race on a track that demands respect. The tension is almost unbearable, just moments before the start of a race that could prove crucial at the halfway point of the season. Ralph got a good start and immediately pulls alongside his brother. Michael isn't put off that easily. He holds the inside line and keeps the lead. Coulthard is third, followed by Trulli, as Barrichello and Panis battle over fifth. Villeneuve got an absolutely dreadful start and has sunk to 18th. Barrichello powers up to fourth, while the hometown hero starts to pick off the tail-enders, starting with Jenson Button. Fisichella breaks his front wing on Bernaldi's arrows, allowing Canada's #1 into 15th place. Villeneuve is determined to change his luck at the circuit named after his father. Meanwhile, Bernoldi hasn't given up, but it's Fisichella's lack of downforce that blunts the Benetton attack.
That's it, we're out.
Irvine joins Fisichella on the sidelines and takes Heidfeld with him. What was the cause?
Didn't do it, but you know, the greatest overtaking maneuver on Heidfeld, and two of us touched, you know, but I had to get stuck in. There's no option when you're 15th on the grid.
Rubens Barrichello is also putting everything into his pursuit of the leaders. His two-stop strategy helps him to easily pass David Coulthard. The Brazilian now targets Ralf Schumacher's second place. But switching off traction control doesn't help. He was trying to cure a misfire, but got an allergic reaction to the treatment. Barrichello is now 11th, right behind Juan Pablo Montoya. The wrong place at the wrong time.
Safety car, safety car.
I don't know really what happened. The car just stepped out. The rear of the car over the curb just stepped out very suddenly. So I don't know.
With Montoya, he went off and I had to avoid it, and without the traction control again, you know, the back end of the car just turned me around, and I couldn't do much.
Safety car in this lap, safety car in this lap.
Okay, Pedro, the pace car in this lap, get right up behind them, get a good start, okay, get a good start.
The Jaguar driver will hope to do just that and make up for his Monaco disappointment, while Benetton's woes are far from over.
Pit now, gents, pit now, penalty, penalty.
Button was judged to have jumped the start and is now serving his sentence, a 10-second stop-and-go penalty.
Okay, let's go.
Luck is definitely not on the Brits' side, but it's never been anywhere near Jacques Villeneuve when he races at this circuit. A broken drive shaft marks his 4th retirement in 6 Canadian Grand Prix. While Villeneuve wonders what he's got to do to win at home, the battle for the lead enters a crucial stage, the pit stop window. Ralf Schumacher's faster in-laps put him on course for his second win. While Coulthard's championship chances take a hammer blow. The Scot was running 4th before this engine failure. Can he salvage the charred remains of his title campaign? Yet more misfortune for Trulli, who assumes 4th place until hydraulics failure leads to brake problems. That's the Italian's 3rd premature exit, a sobering statistic. Unlike a 2nd Grand Prix win.
Yeah! Well done, mate. Well done. Thank you very much. It was just unbelievable. I mean, the car was so great. Thank you very much. Okay, well done, everybody. Thanks a lot.
More success for Williams and the first 1-2 finish for brothers in Formula One. Behind the Schumacher family, Häkkinen scores his first podium finish of the season and De La Rosa scores his first point for Jaguar.
Michael, I suppose you have to lose to someone. You might as well lose to your brother.
Yeah, that's certainly the best to lose to. I mean, I guess our mum and dad will be very proud of us. First time a brother pair being first and second on the podium. And I'm obviously delighted. I took 6 important points. He got his second win in his career. So a happy family day, I'd say.
We should see many more happy family days in the future. The opposition will be thankful there isn't a third Schumacher on the horizon. Jean Alesi's 5th position causes just as much celebration within his team and his Canadian fans. It was on this circuit that he took his first and so far only F1 win in 1995.
I feel very happy, especially because my team really is enjoying these 2 points. I mean, it's great.
While the Canadian fans make their way home, the teams turn their attention to the busiest week of the year, back-to-back races in Europe. One of the best prepared teams is Minardi, who can use their own airline. But regardless, the schedule is hectic for all concerned.
In the States, we're used to doing races back-to-back, so it's not a big deal. And in fact, we've done races as far away as Long Beach, California, and Nazareth, Pennsylvania, which is entirely across the United States, and we've done that back-to-back, which is a lot further than Magny-Cours is from Nürburgring.
For us, it's relatively simple. We'll go straight from one race to the other. The personnel have an option of flying out on the Monday or Tuesday, either going back to Faenza, back to Ledbury, or straight to Magny-Cours. So it's one of the few times where we've got the advantage.
Next week I know that I'm in Silverstone testing, and then that's all.
That's what you do. You race, you test, you race. It's normal.
The European Grand Prix sees the Formula One fraternity venture into Germany for the first of 2 visits. The Nürburgring circuit is situated near the Eifel Mountains. Perhaps the most beautiful part of the country, the region contains many ancient castles and villages and possesses countless large vineyards. This is home ground for Michael Schumacher, so it's no surprise to see the stands awash with Ferrari red. A 2-year contract extension with BMW Williams made Ralph's homecoming all the more pleasurable. As part of his promotional duties for the German car manufacturer, Ralph paid a visit to one of their factories. He was shown how F1 technology benefits the production of road cars. The workers also got the opportunity to meet their long-term ambassador. However, Tasso Marquez's future is uncertain, as Minardi need more cash.
I have contract to the end of the season, so a lot of rumors, everybody's saying. I think the team needs the money if they find a driver that can pay the fee to release me from the contract, and also to bring money for the team. I think they probably should do it because they need money, and I'm happy to be working with the team, but I think we are not doing what we should do right now.
One person who was doing exactly what he should do in qualifying was Ralf Schumacher. He laid down the benchmark time for the others to beat, including teammate Juan Pablo Montoya. The Colombian came off second best, but Gerhard Berger knows that his time will come. Michael Schumacher's time is now. The world champion completes a stunning lap to snatch pole from his brother. Despite losing the best grid slot, Williams remains upbeat.
We didn't expect to go this well on this circuit, and we were very pleasantly surprised. Second and third's a good place to start, because it means you've got most of the field behind you. And with Michael in front, if we can keep up with him, we may be able to outdistance the rest of the pack. Dealing with Michael, I wouldn't like to predict what's going to happen.
Nobody could have predicted what was going to happen on the installation lap.
So it's not I just know that it stopped, but that's all.
I had to stop at the worst point because it was very far away from the pits. So I was wondering how to get back. I didn't see a scooter, just this scooter without keys. I was lucky, suddenly a man appeared and gave me the key, so I got going. It's a strange feeling stopping down there and seeing your chances slipping away.
Fortunately for Schumacher, this problem occurred whilst checking the T car just minutes before the race. All eyes focus on the front row. Everybody's launch control systems work well as the Schumachers head towards the Castrol S. Michael gives Ralph a choice of staying behind or going into the wall. Sensibly, Ralph chooses the former. Montoya is third, but how long can he keep Coulthard behind him? Michael Schumacher has a big early lead, his initial pace proving too much for his brother. But the tyre war is about to add another dimension as the track temperature rises. Ralf Schumacher puts the world champion under tremendous pressure. Can Michael stand the heat, or will Ralf claim his third victory? Their pit stops will be crucial. The Ferrari crew get ready for Michael. Williams respond almost immediately, putting the pressure firmly on the mechanic's shoulders. Can Ralf get ahead of his brother again? We'll soon find out as we enjoy a rematch of their Canadian pit warfare. Chalk one up for the prancing horse, but the frontrunners are all on two-stop strategies, so a rematch is on the cards. Until Ralf Schumacher makes a costly error by crossing the white line. Patrick Head wonders if Michael should also receive a stop-go penalty.
He also put his left front wheel over the top of the line. Is that okay?
As Ralf comes in, rumour has it that Ferrari informed the race stewards of his illegal manoeuvre.
You don't see the communications between the teams and the FIA. I think it's normal, very common for all the teams to ask the FIA what's going on in certain situations. And I know we've had queries on what we've done in races, and we make queries what other teams do in races. It's perfectly normal, so I don't see anything strange in that.
Häkkinen's defences are being put to the test by Barrichello, and they weren't up to much in that exchange. The Brazilian is up to fifth. Trulli won't be going any further. Jordan's terrible season prepares the team for the worst, and Frentzen delivers.
All of a sudden, my traction control system didn't work anymore, and I was just right in the apex of the hairpin where it just came out of the blue. I had too much wheel spin and I spun.
More disappointment for the Irish team leaves Trulli praying for a miracle. Barrichello may need divine intervention to get past Ralf Schumacher, but he'll now have to settle for fifth place. The German fans get exactly what they want. Michael Schumacher's fifth win of the season. Another crushing victory that puts him well on course for a fourth world title. Montoya silences his critics with a controlled drive to second place, while Coulthard will finish third. A good result in the circumstances. McLaren has been rocked by Adrian Newey's near defection to Jaguar. Despite his penalty, Ralf Schumacher claims fourth, but will still be rueing his hasty exit from the pits. Michael Schumacher's win takes him 24 points clear in the Drivers' Championship. David Coulthard and McLaren need to find another gear quickly. Ferrari are enjoying a near-perfect season at the moment, but usually it's their opponents who have to run for cover. The fans certainly appreciate Michael's efforts. Even Jos Verstappen's faithful are caught up in the moment. Now it's just 7 days until the French Grand Prix, but these fans look to be way off course. As soon as the ceremonies are over, the quick, efficient pack-up starts. Back-to-back races are the supreme test of a race team's logistics. Everything is securely in place, so the multicolored convoy can make its way to France. The country boasts more sheer physical diversity than most, and almost every region has its own characteristic food and unique architecture. The convoy finally reaches its destination, the Magny-Cours circuit in central France. It's not all glamour for the drivers and team chiefs. There's no limousines in the paddock, but some still prefer to save their energy for the work ahead. Saturday was a special day for Ralf Schumacher, for more reasons than one. The 26-year-old German was in scintillating form during qualifying, setting provisional pole and laying down the gauntlet for his brother. As Michael approaches the line, Ralf watches on, his fate in his brother's hands. This time, it's Ralf who emerges victorious, but there's still another challenger to see off. Once again, David Coulthard has left it late, but can't dislodge the Schumachers from the front row. The results make uncomfortable reading for Michael, as Ralf takes his first Formula One pole position.
It is special for the team, maybe. For me, it is nice to be on pole position, but then the Saturday doesn't count. So I'd rather, hope that we have a good day tomorrow and that I watch the white lines a bit better this time.
His previous misfortune will be fresh in his mind as race day approaches. Dawn of the French Grand Prix and another chapter in the sport's premier sibling rivalry. Despite all the inspiration from the French Air Force, Mika Häkkinen's McLaren stays rooted to the grid. The gearbox is to blame for his second start-line retirement.
The team tried to start the car, but it just didn't. Engine didn't even spin, didn't even roll. Some reason. Something has broken inside somewhere. It didn't start.
Ferrari's ultra-reliable launch control system should help Michael Schumacher avoid that fate. But nothing's ever certain in this sport. Ralph takes full advantage of pole position, while Coulthard tries a move around the outside of Michael. Montoya is fourth ahead of Trulli as the pack make their way round turn 1. Villeneuve's woes continue. An electronic problem marks his 5th retirement in 10 races. Craig Pollock has more to worry about as Eddie Irvine's Jaguar is ready to pounce on Olivier Panis. The Frenchman leaves the door open at the final corner, allowing Irvine just enough room to take 9th place. At the front, Ralph is maintaining a small lead over Michael, but it's not big enough for him to relax as the first round of pit stops looms. What looked like a routine stop for Coulthard turned out to be rather costly. Releasing the pit lane limiter too early earns him a 10-second stop-go penalty. The pit stop's chief beneficiary was Michael Schumacher, who takes the lead. Further down the field, Irvine sets his sights on Frentzen. He has the inside line. The German sticks to his guns and ends up cutting the corner. The Jaguar number 1 tries again, but is frustrated once more. Bobby Rahal and Eddie Jordan look on as justice prevails. Frentzen lets Irvine through. It's just as frenetic up front as teammates battle for second. Ralph's pace has dropped since his first stop, and he's struggling to hold off Montoya. The team want to bring him in, but Ralph won't play ball.
It's our decision, not his.
Whilst Ralph loses control of his destiny, his brother is in charge of his. Win number 6 is more than likely. Coulthard is 5th, giving away even more valuable championship points. Barrichello and both Williams are in the way of the Scot, but Montoya won't be 3rd for long as his engine runs out of puff, promoting his teammate.
Not now.
It briefly comes back to life, but that was its terminal breath, signalling the Colombian's 7th retirement in 10 races. While Montoya bows out, Barrichello is on the verge of a podium finish after a 3-stop strategy. Can the Brazilian stay ahead of Coulthard? His mechanics wait nervously for the Scots McLaren Mercedes. It's too far behind to threaten Barrichello. Job done. Now it's up to the Ferrari number 2 to resist the pressure from Coulthard. Heidfeld will have to do the same with 7th-placed Irvine. But the Ulsterman's Cosworth engine isn't up to the task. Another self-enforced retirement. Jaguar still has a lot of work to do. A podium finish is more attainable for Coulthard, but time isn't on his side. However, Alesi's Prost allows him to close right up. But Barrichello has better traction out of the corner and keeps third. Ross Brawn is keeping a close eye on this battle, but momentarily turns his attention to his #1 driver, who's about to win the French Grand Prix. His 50th Formula One win. Another comfortable victory for Schumacher. His boss is just glad the back-to-back races are out of the way. Ralph may well have been challenging for victory had it not been for a problem after his first stop. His girlfriend seems pleased enough, though. The battle for third is resolved in favour of Barrichello. Michael Schumacher takes his second win in a week, while Trulli's run of retirements ends with a well-deserved 5th.
The National Assembly presents the trophy to Michael Schumacher.
The world champion's lead has been extended to 31 points over David Coulthard. Jordan are just ahead in the Honda battle, while Ferrari extend their lead still further. The hectic schedule has been very good for Michael Schumacher. He takes maximum points, while Coulthard has only scored 7. Is the title as good as won?
It's a sport and it's unpredictable. It's a comfortable lead on the other side, but not done yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Things can turn around very quickly. It's not over until Norbert sings.
Coulthard's cause wasn't helped by Ralph's drop in pace after his first stop. Was his second set of tyres to blame?
It definitely cost me the race at that time. I took a choice after or before qualifying, which was in favour for the qualifying, and we thought that we were able to make the tyre work in race as well, which we did with the first set. But we made a mistake with the following two by not treating them the right way, and that's why we lost out.
Round 11 of the championship takes place at Silverstone, traditionally a happy hunting ground for Ralph.
It has been in previous years. I've always scored some points, knock on wood.
The Schumacher steamroller is hardly in need of luck as it moves on into Great Britain. Silverstone, the home of British motorsport, is situated in rural Northamptonshire. The peaceful environment of the surrounding villages is in sharp contrast to what goes on at the former airfield. Former world champions mix with the celebrities at one of the most prestigious events on the nation's sporting calendar. As with most big occasions here, one of the highlights is a spectacular aerial display. This year's stars are the RAF Falcons, who send a tribute to British broadcaster Murray Walker. The popular commentator is retiring after the American Grand Prix. Two Ferrari icons got together when Michael Schumacher drove a sister model of the car that won Ferrari's first ever Grand Prix 50 years ago at Silverstone. On the verge of his own piece of history, victory here would see him equal Alain Prost's record of 51 wins.
It's quite a nice record. I mean, I always consider a number of wins had more value than championship. When I beat the record of Jackie, 27 wins, he said to the press, Alain can go until 40 if he wants. But I'm sure he did not know that I could go to 51 or even 52 because I have been disqualified once. And now I think Michael could go to 60 or even more. For sure, the value of those days of having all these wins, especially with Ferrari for the last 6 years, is really impressive, and he deserves it.
Hopes were high in the Williams camp after Ralph's first pole in France. Could he out-qualify his brother again? 10th put him 2 places behind Montoya. The track temperature wasn't ideal for the tyres, but Patrick Head knew Michelin weren't entirely to blame. The cooler temperatures played straight into the hands of Bridgestone and their #1 driver. Michael Schumacher took his 8th pole of the season, but he was pushed all the way by his old rival Mika Häkkinen, at last regaining the speed we all knew he had. Coulthard lines up 3rd, so it's no wonder Schumacher's so happy, and it might even rain.
Now you've mentioned the dreaded rain. What does the BAR weather forecaster say?
Impossible to say. We're in the UK. I think the difference probably is when it rains in April, it's a little bit colder than when it rains in the month of July.
The team boss's prayers have been answered. It's dry and bright for the start. Schumacher maintains his advantage. Häkkinen slots in behind as Trulli and Coulthard vie for the same line with disastrous results. The Italian is out of the race, while Coulthard's long-term plans take another blow. Schumacher and Häkkinen are leaving the rest behind, while Heidfeld squeezes into 7th past Frentzen. McLaren prepare for a precautionary stop for Coulthard, while the championship contender looks to take 17th off Fisichella. Just how much damage did the Scots car suffer from his collision with Trulli's Jordan? We get our answer at Priory. Suspension failure ends Coulthard's race and possibly his championship campaign. While one Silver Arrow falters, the other rises to the occasion. Häkkinen's back and takes the lead with surprising ease. The loss of the lead doesn't seem to bother the Ferrari bosses, as Montoya seizes his opportunity to take 2nd. Once again, Schumacher doesn't put up much of a fight. Is his heavy fuel load harming him, or has Coulthard's retirement affected his game plan? Peter Sauber waits for Raikkonen to make his first stop. His parking may leave a little to be desired, but there's no doubting his pace. He's in 7th place and may well be on course for another points finish. Formula One's senior Flying Finn has his sights set significantly higher. A first win of the season is within his grasp. Montoya's victory aspirations have all but disappeared. After his first stop, he languishes in 5th behind Barrichello and Ralf Schumacher. This situation provokes heated debate within the Williams team.
Ralf and Sam going to have a go at Rubens. We'll let one have a go.
Put your head up. He's not even holding up with us.
We're a racing team. We're here to race. Do not issue.
Having weathered that storm, Ralf Schumacher comes in for his first stop, leaving Montoya to deal with Barrichello. No such hassles for the race leader, but plenty of post-pit stop problems for Ralf Schumacher.
Engines
Looks as an identical failure to what we had last race, Montoya.
Williams' problems help ease the pressure on one-stopping Michael Schumacher, who lies 2nd. While his old rival continues to dominate up front, his brother asserts himself in a different way.
Ralf.
Tension too in the pit lane as Fisichella and Enrique Bernaldi fight for 13th. Whoever holds their nerve the longest will get out ahead. And it's the Italian who comes out on top. Sauber look on course for a bigger prize as Raikkonen and Heidfeld are 5th and 6th. Montoya is fourth, and a decent second stop could get him on the podium. A reluctant airgun doesn't help matters, and that's just the beginning of his problems.
Car is moving a lot. Not very good with this set. Okay, copy that. You think it's just this set of tyres? It's not another problem. Yes. And 4 is this set of tyres.
Barrichello is in for his only stop. Can Montoya's difficulties gift him third place? Another scalp for the Ferrari mechanics. Mindful of events in Spain, Ron Dennis knows that Hakkinen can't be sure of victory until he crosses the line. This time, the Finn gets his just reward. His first win of the season and his maiden British triumph was a long time coming. Schumacher finishes second, tightening his grip on the championship. Nobody would have predicted that it would take 11 rounds for Hakkinen to reach the top step of the podium this season. A bittersweet race for McLaren, while Sauber's youngsters post another giant-killing performance. Coulthard's championship ambitions seem to be slipping away after this first corner incident.
I'm not going to do a Jarno bashing session because, you know, he obviously saw it from one point of view and I see it from another.
Well, I had a very good start and I was next to David by the first corner.
Although Jarno was on the inside line, he made a better start. I had track position because I was slightly ahead, so I felt that the corner, in terms of us doing it at the correct speed, was mine.
I don't know if he didn't see me or just closed the door, and so it was a shame because I couldn't find any more space to avoid the accident.
For the time being, McLaren Mercedes just want to celebrate the return to form of their prodigal son. Michael Schumacher's second place came after an uncharacteristically conservative drive. Was he playing safe for the sake of the championship?
I think his pace just reflected a one-stop strategy, which was the wrong strategy, but possibly, as always, they'll have a reason for dampening the enthusiasm of our victory, but they'll struggle to do that.
We expected Mika to be on a very aggressive strategy. That was fairly predictable, and there was no point in trying to hold back Mika. I mean, a one-stop obviously has to maintain his position at the beginning, but to try and hold it off against Mika and risk an accident just wasn't right.
It's not over. We took points away from Michael again today. I think we can win obviously more races, but it was Mika's day, and the championship, as far as I'm concerned, for David is still very much open.
The Scot may not be out of the running yet, but he can't afford another non-scoring finish at the German Grand Prix. The race takes place at the Hockenheim circuit, close to the town of Heidelberg, one of the country's biggest tourist attractions. Germany has many motorsport heroes, such as the Schumachers and Nick Heidfeld. But Heinz-Harald Frentzen will be missing. Why was he sacked just days before the race?
There were a number of situations which occurred this year, particularly it was disappointing how the season was beginning to pan out. Heinz and I had a number of discussions about this and how we could possibly sort it out and do various different things, and sadly we weren't able to agree on it, and we felt, or I felt, that it was best in the best interest of the team that what has happened has happened.
As in Canada, Ricardo Zonta has been called in to fill the breach. Finding a replacement driver is relatively simple compared to securing a works engine deal. How tough was it for Craig Pollock?
First thing in Formula One is to secure the budget, make sure you've got a good team, then you'll maybe get a good engine manufacturer, and I think we did lock in that we had a very good structure for Honda to come back with. It was a very new structure that they could help us actually build up, but to secure the deal was probably one of the hardest things I've done in my business career.
BAR share their Honda deal with Jordan. But this race favours the all-powerful BMW V10. Williams should excel on Hockenheim's long straights.
I have a good feeling, as I have nearly with every weekend. But again, Hockenheim, yeah, you're right, long straights, but that means also quite hard work for the engine. A lot of engine failures usually in Hockenheim, and I hope ours is not one of them.
It showed no sign of fragility during qualifying, where Ralf Schumacher set the initial pace. But it was Montoya who took his first pole position, locking out the front row for Williams.
Great job, guys. Brilliant. I think you're safe. 38-1, P1. Well done.
Even the rejuvenated Mika Häkkinen was no match for Williams on Saturday.
If these guys, if they can maintain the speed what they had in qualifying for tomorrow, I could say we have no chance. So let's hope something goes a little bit wrong for them tomorrow. Thanks. No, good.
The world champion will echo those sentiments as he prepares for his home race.
T-car for Fernando.
Catastrophe for Minardi as Fernando Alonso runs for the spare. He'll have to be quick to beat Marquez to it. Both cars have caught fire on the grid, leading to unwanted seat swapping for the drivers.
Tarso's in Fernando's car. Fernando's in the T car.
To Paul Stoddart's annoyance, his cars start from the pit lane, and Marquez may not go much further. The start proves even more dramatic. Amazingly, Luciano Berti and Michael Schumacher walked away after their frightening collision.
Go, go, go. Accident, turn 1. There's a lot of debris. I think you need to stick to the inside of turn 1. A lot of debris, turn 1. Red flag, red flag. Race stop, red flag.
That gives the German the opportunity to take the restart in the spare Ferrari. Remarkably, Berti is able to join him. Montoya leads into turn 1, followed by Ralf Schumacher, Häkkinen and Michael Schumacher, whose gearbox doesn't let him down this time. He's alongside Häkkinen and easily passes the Finn into the Jim Clark curve. De La Rosa isn't so sharp with the brakes and gives Heidfeld more time to spend at home.
It was not that I braked too late, it was just, or later than I would. It's just that they were stuck in the first chicane really slow. Everyone was on first gear and I arrived there in completely too quick and could not stop the car, locked, hit Nick, and that was the end.
Olivier Panis is far from finished. He utilises Honda power and a light fuel load to take 13th place from Button. Can the Frenchman lead a BAR renaissance? The same tactic revitalises Barrichello's race. The Brazilian is homing in on 4th placed Häkkinen. Mission accomplished, but how far will his two-stop strategy take him? 14th place is Bernoldi's target, but Button makes him fight for it. He's through, but his route could cause him grief later. Zonta is now in Panis' sights, apparently a rather uncomfortable experience. However, the Brazilian doesn't gain an advantage and should escape the wrath of the stewards. Back with the leaders, Ralf Schumacher can't live with Montoya's pace. He's safely ahead of the battle for 3rd between Schumacher and Barrichello. The Brazilian makes his move and encountered little resistance. There's no point battling a faster car when the championship is at stake. Zonta finds Verstappen far less obliging and loses his front wing. Germany has not been kind to the Irish team and their problems are far from over. It's the clash of the Hondas as Panis takes on Trulli. A satisfying moment for the BAR mechanics. The Italian doesn't take that lying down though. He dives down the inside, almost collects Villeneuve and takes a few years off his boss's life. A nightmare weekend for Jordan. It's hardly been a bed of roses for Häkkinen either. Engine failure ends a fruitless struggle against Williams and Ferrari.
I was looking for finishing in podium, maybe third, maybe second, never know, but just a lot of vibration suddenly arrived from behind me, a lot of smoke, and I lost the drive and engine just stopped.
All about rash decisions. A two-stop strategy definitely isn't hindering Barrichello. He's just been in for his first set of new tyres and fuel and quickly catches fourth place Coulthard. The Brazilian has the best line going into the stadium complex. The Scot grimly hangs on, but to no avail. Montoya is held up by Verstappen, not what you need before your first stop. A good stop could virtually guarantee victory for the Colombian. But a faulty fuel rig undoes all Montoya's hard work. He leaves a frustrated fourth. Michael Schumacher is now second after his stop, but disaster strikes barely a lap later. Fuel pressure problems put Schumacher's championship aspirations on hold. His retirement gives Coulthard a golden opportunity to reduce the Germans' lead in the Drivers' Championship. Montoya joins him on the sidelines. Once again, his BMW engine expires. Coulthard suffers the same fate at the most inopportune time. The championship looks beyond him now.
So obviously very disappointed. Wasn't particularly quick in the race anyway. So much oversteer. I think I had enough for the whole grid.
Come on, dude. Come on, get it back together. We need to be going quicker than this. Fisichella 44.0. I don't want to see that gap get closed.
Villeneuve aims for BAR's second podium, chased all the way by Fisichella. Button is fifth, followed by the inspired Jean Alesi.
Brilliant, Jean, brilliant. Keep pushing.
Fisichella pushes too hard.
Be careful, please. Come on, concentrate.
Ralf Schumacher is completely focused, though he has the best motivation, a home win.
Yeah! Well done. Well done, everybody.
Ralph's third win of the season earns a round of applause from his brother. Villeneuve is third ahead of comeback kids Benetton. The Schumachers have plenty of reason to celebrate, as do Fisichella and Button. That's Benetton's first double points finish of the season. Coulthard's retirement puts Michael Schumacher on the verge of title number 4, while Panis's two-stop strategy foiled a points finish. The German fans are full of national pride thanks to BMW powering Ralf to victory. A Schumacher 1-2 in the Drivers' Championship is now tantalisingly close.
when after the race, when Pablo pulled away, I was, I thought, okay, you're doing whatever you want to, and I started to save engine already because I know how long and how hard that race is, obviously, to engines, and it paid off at the end.
Ralph has possibly suggested that he managed to conserve the engine and ended up with that win. Do you think you were pushing too hard?
You can't. You don't even shift. The car shifts by itself, so you can't really push it, can you? So you don't really do anything.
Now, if
you drive the car, but you can't really over push the engine or anything. And I looked at the race, and he actually was locking tires everywhere and stuff. I don't think he was trying that easy either.
However, the big talking point was Luciano Berti's first lap aerobatics. He had no chance to avoid Schumacher's Ferrari, which launched him into a frightening barrel roll.
I think the accident looks a lot worse when you see from the outside. I felt very safe, so my feeling during the accident wasn't too bad.
Which safety features ensured that the Brazilian walked away from his huge shunt?
First of all, the carbon fiber, since they introduced that to Formula One, I think was probably the biggest step on the safety side because it's a very light and strong material. Also, I think the headrest is very important because a few years ago, the driver used to be with the head, even the shoulders out of the car. So you're a lot more exposed, and now with the headrest, you're a lot more safe. And maybe another thing also that they put this year, which is a foam inside the tub of the car, inside the chassis, which can protect your legs. When I looked at those pictures, it doesn't look like myself in the car. It looks like someone else. So, I feel almost as if it didn't happen.
With the accident behind him, Berti can now focus on the Hungarian Grand Prix. The host city and the nation's capital, Budapest, is really two cities in one. The older part, Buda, is separated from the newer, Pest, by the river Danube. Both are characterized by their unique architecture. Two Formula One veterans make their debuts for new teams at the Hungaroring. Jean Alesi moves to Jordan, replacing test driver Ricardo Zonta. The Frenchman reacquaints himself with his F3000 championship team of 1989. To the surprise of most F1 experts, the Irish team's former employee has taken the vacant seat at Prost.
Yes, well, I thought it's better to go back into racing and than being at home and getting bored. I mean, I think it's a waste of talent if I sit at home.
All the attention is on the German's former Mercedes junior teammate, who could clinch his fourth world title here. Has Ferrari got the champagne on ice?
Normally, you don't keep champagne or prepare it, you go and get it from another team. So that's one of the sort of a superstition that people think about.
Are there any other rituals?
17's like 13 in England. So, I mean, the numbers, any of the components that are numbered with 17, they're very superstitious whether they're going to use it or not, or wings or wheels or anything that's got the number 17.
As always, Michael Schumacher focuses on P1 on Saturday. The German set a blistering time to take his 9th pole position of the season, enhancing his chances of victory. Will Nigel Stepney have his own good luck charm for the race?
Someone gave me a 4-leaf clover last year, and I always carry that with me. So it's always in the bag. But certain things over the years, but I just tend not to throw them away and keep them. So in another 10 years, I'm going to end up with a suitcase, I think.
There won't be any room for good luck charms in Schumacher's suitcase if he wins on Sunday. There's a buzz of anticipation around the Hungaroring. Like everybody else, Schumacher's manager, Willy Weber, wonders if his star is on the verge of history. He starts well, unlike his championship rival. Schumacher leads from Barrichello as Heidfeld gets squeezed out by Trulli and Irvine takes the scenic route. Montoya eases past Raikkonen for 8th, while Bobby Rahal ponders yet another Jaguar retirement before he even takes his seat. It's all going according to plan for Ferrari, and it's asking an awful lot of Coulthard to take the lead on this tight, twisty track. Ralph holds down a solid 4th ahead of Trulli and Häkkinen. Overtaking is at a premium here, but Alesi pays little regard to convention. The new Jordan driver gets great traction out of turn 1 to take 12th place off De La Rosa. Häkkinen is finding 5th place Trulli a more difficult proposition. The leader makes his first stop while all eyes turn to the battle for 2nd place, which could be won and lost in the pits. Schumacher retakes the lead as McLaren win the battle for 2nd. But the next round may be the decider. The Ferrari hierarchy can afford to smile. Both championships are within their grasp, though Trulli's immediate future is depressingly predictable.
Gabrielli, we're seeing a big drop in return line pressure, so the diff will shut down shortly. I think he's stopped.
The Italian's former teammate also has a race to forget on his debut for Prost.
Okay, guys, I know. Okay, hi. Thanks, we saw that. Remember to put the steering wheel back on.
Michael Schumacher is now just a couple of corners away from cementing his status as one of the all-time greats of Formula One. He powers down the start-finish straight for the final time to win the Hungarian Grand Prix, his 4th world title, and to equal Alain Prost's tally of wins.
Guys, I don't have the right words for you at the moment, but you have been simply amazing. We all love it. Complimenti, Michael. Fantastic, fantastic, mate. Buongiorno, vinco io!
The legions of Ferrari fans hail their hero, who's on top of the motorsport world yet again. Michael Schumacher's 7th win of the season earns him world title number 4. Barrichello's 2nd place makes it a perfect day for Ferrari. Maranello's finest get ready to celebrate. Wrapping up the title with 4 races to go puts some extra bounce into the Schumacher victory leap. Formula One's new living legend accepts his plaudits, while his technical director looks on with well-deserved pride. Let's not forget Rubens Barrichello's contribution to winning both championships for Ferrari. This year has seen Jean Todt's red cars crush the opposition. Is this just the beginning of years of dominance? The Drivers' and Constructors' Championships are settled, but Coulthard still has to secure second place, while McLaren have to fend off Williams for the runner-up spot in the Constructors' Championship. Despite the disappointment, Coulthard is gracious in defeat.
Just have to, say congratulations to him that he deserved this championship. He's been very strong all season.
Having a strong team behind him has been the key to Schumacher's dominance, as Jean Todt explains.
Fantastic achievement from all the team. Michael, Rubens, each single part of the team has built this success.
We have become so strong, we have become so close together. Obviously, my friend Jean and all my engineers, and it's outstanding to be with all these guys. And that's, I think, the basic message I would like to bring over, that it is their effort and it's them who made me champion.
Yeah, I think it's the second time in my life that I try something like that. So, but it's a good moment. Second championship, second time.
The new world champion now targets his 52nd win. Formula One moves on into the picturesque Ardennes region of Belgium. The spectacular scenery houses one of Formula One's greatest challenges, the formidable Spa-Francorchamps circuit. It's widely viewed as the best on the calendar. Does Ron Dennis concur?
Oh yes, it's one of the great circuits, if not the greatest. It's challenging, it's technically difficult, both the team and the driver, and I think the satisfaction of winning at Spa is quite special. We've done it a few times, hopefully we'll do it again this weekend.
Their chances of victory took a knock when Coulthard lost control during first practice. While McLaren suffer an early setback, Jaguar slide deeper into crisis. Niki Lauda takes charge after poor results, and an alleged attempt to offload Eddie Irvine forced Bobby Rahal out. What's the Ulsterman's view?
They acted so decisively. That was very impressive. They came to a sort of understanding that it wasn't working, and boom, that was it.
That's probably how Pedro de la Rosa described being hit by Schumacher on Friday. His new boss knew exactly why it happened.
The biggest problem here is, out of my days, is when it rains heavy, that you don't see anything. And this is a real problem, which Michael was affected by this rain conditions of today. So on Sunday, we really have to watch how much rain will come down, because it can really get dangerous here.
He didn't have to wait until Sunday for the bad weather. Poor visibility forced the cancellation of Saturday's first practice. That gives plenty of time for Giancarlo Fisichella and Jarno Trulli to ponder their new drives. Fisichella rejoins Jordan, while Trulli will race for the new Renault team that takes over from Benetton next year. The fog lifted for qualifying, leaving a tyre dilemma towards the end of the session as the track dried out. McLaren had dry tyres ready, but Coulthard chose to finish his lap on intermediates. As a result, he was only 9th fastest. Montoya had made the change already and timed his run perfectly. He set a stunning time on the way to his second pole position, with Ralf Schumacher making it another all-Williams front row. The Prost team also had reason to be cheerful, with Heinz-Harald Frentzen qualifying 4th. The birthday boy in question is Olivier Panis, who turns 35 on race day. Perhaps in honour of the Frenchman, the rain has stayed away, for the start at least. Montoya and Ralf Schumacher take up their front row positions, a common sight on power circuits like Spa. Frentzen takes his Prost into unfamiliar territory. Sadly, it's an opportunity wasted.
What happened, Jeff? Einstall. There's another formation lap and the race distance is reduced by 1 lap.
The field now prepare for a second formation lap. That produces similar results to the first start, but this time pole position is thrown away. Montoya may have to wait a little longer for his first Grand Prix victory. The Colombian loves wheel-to-wheel racing, and he'll get plenty of that starting from the back. Ralf is away well, but Fisichella gets the best start. His Benetton shoots up from 8th position on the grid to the tail of the Ferraris as the field filters through La Source. Montoya disposes with Alonso as Eau Rouge awaits. Ralf leads from his brother, followed by Barrichello, Fisichella, Villeneuve and Hakkinen. Michael is right in Ralf's slipstream. He moves to the outside and drives round the Williams to take the lead. Hakkinen and Coulthard are also on a charge, having dropped Villeneuve to 7th. Mike Gascoigne hopes that Fisichella's defences are up to the task, as the Italian is the McLaren's next target. Fisichella touches the white line, loses traction and opens the door for the Finn. Hakkinen unleashes the power of his Mercedes engine and takes 4th place. The Prost team thought they'd got the worst behind them until lap 5.
Channel, you okay? You okay?
Eddie Irvine and the marshals get to work as the news gets back to the grid.
No, Eddie and Bertie. Eddie and Bertie. You all right? Any news?
Eddie, can you tell us something about the accident?
Not really, no. I was obviously going very long into the race. I was on a long one-stop, so I was very slow at the start of the race. Just basically tried to hang on to my position. His front wing hit my rear wheel and he went straight on. I spun. That's all I really know.
Did you see Bertie in the car? You look for him?
But apparently he's fine, which is great.
Okay, thank you.
Verstappen has spotted a problem with Montoya's car as the drivers regroup in race order.
Sam, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Patrick.
The rear wing is a buckling compression failure on the right-hand side, 8 inches in from the end plate.
As a precaution, Ralph's wing is also attended to.
Let's do it then. Change the rear wing, please. How long have we got, Dick? We've got a flashing amber. 5 minutes to go. 3 minutes. 3 minutes to go. 3 minutes. Come on, start her in, guys. Start her in.
What's happening with Ralph's car? It's up in the air.
Unbelievable, Dickie. Great. Thank you.
Starting at the back is the lesser of two evils. Working on the car after the time limit expired would have cost Ralph a stop-go penalty. Fisichella catches Hakkinen napping and is up to 2nd from 6th. Montoya is boxed in and has his problems with De La Rosa. Schumacher leads from Fisichella and Barrichello as the all-Honda battle for 7th covers the width of the track. Trulli grabs the inside line, forcing Villeneuve onto the grass and Parnis to take desperate evasive action. Further back, Montoya challenges his teammate for 12th. The Colombian's BMW engine gives up the ghost, while Häkkönen's Mercedes unit goes from strength to strength. He gets tremendous speed through Eau Rouge, allowing him to easily take Barrichello for 5th. Button is 4th, but yet to stop. Coulthard is 3rd, putting Fisichella under pressure.
Fisichella, we change rear tyres only, rear tyres only.
Those front tyres are practically slicks. That could trigger protests from the other teams. Whatever the rights or wrongs of their strategy, it's paid off. Fisichella stays 2nd. Michael Schumacher is under no pressure in the lead, but that doesn't slow his pace. Coulthard has closed right up on Fisichella, while the bus stop chicane bollards take the pressure off Häkkönen. The resultant downforce deficit will seriously compromise Barrichello's race. And if that wasn't bad enough, he'll have to do a full lap of the longest circuit on the calendar before he can get it replaced. Coulthard's ready to pounce, but Fisichella has the inside line covered. Just how long can the Italian keep the Scot behind him? Ron Dennis can't be happy with that state of affairs, but Coulthard is about to rectify the situation. Barrichello is also on a late race charge and takes 5th from Jean Alesi. More disappointment for Jordan as Jarno Trulli retires just a few laps from the finish. It's been a frustrating season for the Irish team, and the Italian has borne the brunt of their technical problems. Alesi does his bit for team morale by fighting a strong rearguard action against Ralf Schumacher. The German has the power advantage, but doesn't have 198 races worth of experience behind him. It's been another vintage performance from Michael Schumacher. What better way to score his record-breaking 52nd win? While the all-conquering German passes another career milestone, Fisichella and Benetton get back on the podium at last.
Well done, mate. Fantastic drive, fantastic. Thank you. Good job, guys. Good start.
David Coulthard took a well-deserved 2nd place, with Alesi scoring his first World Championship point for Jordan. It's been 23 races since Fisichella was last on the podium. His lightning start was a key factor in securing 3rd place.
When you say I made an amazing start, I don't think that's true. I think the guy next to me made an amazing start. I don't know which position he came from, but he almost took me.
Yeah, both starts fantastic, especially the second one from 6th to 2nd position. The reaction was very good after the red light. I went straight on the launch control and was good.
Interesting to see them not change their front tyres at all. Looked pretty bald to me, but it's not for me to say.
He's out of danger, but everybody is anxious for news of Bertie's condition.
We hear he's got some bruising, naturally, big accident, but he's not in a bad way, so that's good to know. Then, unfortunately, that is part of the sport. That is what people will talk about, and you don't want to have accidents, but it's that uncertainty and that spectacle that attracts the sort of crowds that we have. It was a massive crowd here today, and it shows that Formula One's as popular as ever.
The Formula One fraternity can breathe a little easier as it prepares for the Italian Grand Prix. The circuit of Monza is a stone's throw from Milan, the fashion capital of Italy. Its stylish image makes it a mecca for the young. On Friday morning, Formula One paid its respects to those who died in the terrorist atrocities in America on September the 11th by observing a minute's silence.
Thank you very much.
Each team paid their respects in their own way. Ferrari's was the most visible. Two drivers made their debuts in this tense atmosphere. Czech Thomas Anger replaced Luciano Berti at Prost, while Minardi introduced Malaysia's Alex Young in place of Tasso Marquez. A former champion announced that he would be taking next year off. Mika Häkkönen's replacement at McLaren will be his young protege, Kimi Räikkönen, following his impressive performances at Sauber. Will the teacher be at his pupil's side next season?
I'm going to give the Kimi 110% support. He's my friend, so I'm not going to leave him. He's going to be in my heart definitely all the way, and I'm going to help him.
Is the rookie looking forward to his shot at the big time?
Yeah, for sure. I'm very happy for myself, and this will be an interesting year next year. But I'm also very thankful for Peter and for Sauber, because they give me a chance to come Formula One, and then in the end they let me go.
I'm the driver who's been racing Formula One for many, many years, and I've always been giving 100% for the racing in terms of everything, including marketing, including testing, racing, whatever it concerns in my just work. To continue to give in 100%, I need to have a break.
The Finn's exit at the second Lesmo gave him grounds to think he'd made the right decision. Fortunately, Häkkinen escaped injury and qualified 7th fastest. A new qualifying engine and Bridgestone's latest tyre helped Barrichello out-qualify Michael Schumacher for the first time since Austria 2000. But he had to settle for second behind Montoya. That's the Colombian's third pole in 4 races. Can he convert it into a win this time? Despite the events of September the 11th, the crowd still flocked to Monza. Every vantage point is used. There's also an air of tension among the drivers due to concerns over safety. 11th-hour discussions have produced almost unanimous driver solidarity.
We just had a meeting and we decided that within the first 2 chicanes there will be no overtaking. With the exception of one driver, everybody has agreed, and that's what we will go for. If there's one driver doesn't want to follow this way, that's his decision, and that's it. And we're going to issue a statement later to confirm this.
Can you say who the one driver is?
I think everybody knows.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Thanks.
It's pretty small.
Thanks for explaining.
Jacques Villeneuve was said to be the one who disagreed at the start, and then the others have come around to his way of thinking. Is that correct?
That is my understanding, yes. I know that Jack is, well, I suppose we're a little bit alike, that when we believe in something, we go for what we believe in. I think it is the right thing to do, and I think Jack made the right stance.
I've not instructed my drivers to do anything other than to obey the rules.
Schumacher informs the drivers of a change of plan, while Nick Heidfeld clarifies the situation.
Some teams or some drivers didn't want to accept no overtaking for the start and the first 2 chicanes. And unfortunately, there were too many to do what we basically wanted to do.
I believe everything is normal, and I don't see any reason for modify this race.
The time to sort it out, or to sort out this circuit is before the next Grand Prix, not half an hour before the start of the race.
But if either of your drivers insisted that they would not overtake into the first 2 chicanes, would you be able to tell them that they have to ignore this?
No, I think so if the driver want to do that, I mean, need found next year another one team.
Thank you very much, Flavio.
Heidfeld and Fisichella wait in the pit lane. With so much tension on the grid, it's the best place to be. Montoya stays ahead of the Ferraris as Button rockets up the order. The pit lane opens as we wait to see what happens at the now infamous first chicane. Button has shot up to 6th from 11th on the grid, but stopping is a problem, as Jarno Trulli finds out. Villeneuve drives round the wreckage. Hakkinen avoids the chicane completely, while the luckless Italian retires. His assailant is also out quickly due to a blown engine. At the front, Montoya leads from Barrichello, Michael Schumacher, Ralf Schumacher and Coulthard. Conspicuous by his absence from the leading group is Hakkinen, who begins his fight back at the expense of 12th place Irvine. As one McLaren makes up for lost time, the others is up. Coulthard's ailing Mercedes V10 causes his 4th retirement of the season. Ferrari's power plant is helping Barrichello hassle Montoya. The Brazilian goes on the inside and blasts past the Colombian into the lead. Are the Scuderia really that fast? Or has Ross Brawn got a trick up his sleeve? Whatever the reason, it's certainly frustrating for Montoya, as he now has to fend off Michael Schumacher. The Williams driver is forced into a mistake that could earn him a stop-go penalty. Hakkinen's up to 11th and finds Enrique Bernoldi as tough to pass as Coulthard did at Monaco. Jung's induction is just as difficult. He narrowly avoids collecting Montoya and Schumacher. Not the way to impress on your first day. Ross Brawn looks on as Michael Schumacher is in very early for his stop, which looks to be the first of 2. Will this help him regain 3rd place? His teammate and race leader also appears to be on a 2-stop strategy. This is crunch time for Barrichello. At the worst possible moment, a fuel rig mix-up handicaps the Brazilian. Patrick Head keeps a keen eye on the competition as Montoya takes the lead, leaving Williams plenty of time for the Colombian's sole stop. Hakkinen will also have some extra minutes to kill as his gearbox packs up. Poor reliability has dogged this year's McLaren Mercedes. That's the team's 11th retirement. 2002 can't come soon enough for the team, or the soon-to-be grounded Flying Finn. The new leader comes in for his first stop.
We will take 2 holes of front wing out, 2 holes of front wing out, and pit scrub rears.
Less front wing will ease the pressure on the tyres. The Michelins have been suffering from excessive wear. Montoya's stop is the first in a series involving the front runners. That period of frenetic pit activity worked out well for Williams. Montoya retains the lead and Ralf demotes Barrichello to 3rd. The Brazilian's first stop proved very costly. The initial euphoria turns to depression as Ralf's mechanics see their man slowed by tyre and brake problems. This allows Barrichello to try some classic Monza slipstreaming. Despite his troubles, Ralf hangs on valiantly, but the pressure forces him into a mistake. The Ferrari mechanics are rightly aggrieved, but Ralph moves over, removing the threat of a penalty. The Tifosi roar their approval, but they also salute Colombia's finest as he cruises to his maiden victory.
Brilliant! 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 Great job, guys! Great job! Well done, Juan. Well done. Excellent work. Fantastic. There at last. Happy birthday, Daddy.
Salud. Se dice en español.
Oh, it's brilliant, guys. Five. Yeah.
The Colombian could headline many more races in the future. Barrichello's second place sees him close on Coulthard for the runners-up position in the Drivers' Championship. For now, though, it's all about Montoya.
It's a good race. It was a difficult race. I think Rubens was really quick, but you know, when the luck is in your side, it will come. And we had a couple of races before we were quite unlucky, and the things were about to change, and it did change.
Montoya celebrates, but as a mark of respect for recent events, it was a champagne-free podium. Despite fears of more terrorist attacks and the timing of the race, Formula One staged the first international sporting event in America since September the 11th.
Come on, baby, take a ride with me. I'm up from Indiana down to Tennessee. Everything is cool as can be in a peaceful world. Lay back to top and ride with me. I'm up from Indiana down to Tennessee. Everything is cool as can be in a peaceful world. Take it, Mary.
With the sport, we have to show that the whole world doesn't have to stop at the moment. We still have to carry on. We know that we have to take care of what's happening, but we can stop at the moment. Otherwise, the people which attack USA, they would have won the battle.
Those in attendance at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway would certainly agree with Jarno Trulli. Formula One has helped put smiles back on the faces of its American fans, who turned out in their thousands. The USA Grand Prix will be the last race for McLaren team coordinator Joe Ramirez, who's been involved in Formula One since the 60s. He received his first going-away present at the Hungarian Grand Prix. His new Harley-Davidson came courtesy of David Coulthard and Mika Häkkinen. The Finn was probably trying to remember those happier times after Sunday warm-up.
There was a large queue of cars formed up behind the lights. Mika thought that they were queuing, waiting to do a launch control, and overtook them. Because of the cars being there, it obscured the lights, and he went out in a few 5 seconds before the lights turned to green.
As a result, Häkkinen was demoted from 2nd to 4th on the grid.
Do you feel the punishment fits the crime?
Not at all.
Thanks, Ron.
Another man with a lot on his mind is the most experienced driver on the grid.
Charles Lazy, you're going to become, I think, the 5th person ever to do 200 Grand Prix today. How do you feel?
Old. No, I feel really proud to have been in such a fantastic business. I have to say thank you a lot to Bernie Eccleston, who really made for everyone here in our business a great job. And now I'm with Eddie Jordan, and really I'm looking for this Grand Prix to make good results.
The crowd demand action from the start, and with the world champion just ahead of both Williams, they'll get it. Montoya leaves Ralph behind and lines up Michael. But the Ferrari holds him off. It's just as fast and furious further back. Raikkonen is the loser in the battle for 7th. For the second consecutive race, a light fuel load sees Barrichello on a charge. The Brazilian has now caught his team leader, who quickly lets him through. A Drivers' Championship 1-2 is Ferrari's priority now. Alesi's main concern is producing an anniversary to remember. Button doesn't prove to be too much trouble, and the Jordan is back in 9th after a poor start. Williams hope that Ralf Schumacher can follow the Frenchman's lead with the aid of a two-stop strategy. An unwilling airgun will deflate those hopes, though. The German sinks to 9th. Barrichello also loses places, but only drops to 5th, handing the lead back to his teammate, who has a re-energized Montoya snapping at his heels. The Colombian doesn't look close enough to make a move at the moment, but BMW power takes care of that problem. Can he give the crowd what they crave? A great move. That's the 3rd time the young pretender has put one over the master, as noted by Montoya's father. The Colombian's teammate is enduring a miserable race, and his second set of tyres aren't helping. Nick Heidfeld adds insult to injury, dropping Ralf back to 9th. Further back, De La Rosa is also on the prowl. 10th place Villeneuve is his target. Another hopeful move by the Spaniard ends in failure. Ralf Schumacher soldiers on, until his Williams becomes too hot to handle. More maddening is Montoya's retirement. He looked on course for a second win.
I don't know what happened, just died. The engine was still running, but I think something broke the gearbox.
Häkkinen pits from the lead. The former world champion's long first stint could pay off, but he needs to stay ahead of Schumacher, who's already stopped. It's pretty close, but fortune favours the Finn, who takes second. Schumacher's teammate comes in for his second and final stop. Can the Ferrari mechanics help him stay in front of Häkkinen? McLaren's strategy has really paid dividends. The Finn is back in front. Barrichello drops to second, just in front of Schumacher. He must engage Häkkinen's maximum attack mode if he wants to win the race. Irvine has that mindset as he closes on 5th place Heidfeld. The revitalized Ulsterman powers up the inside, looking good for his second best finish of the season so far. An ailing V10 blunts Barrichello's fight back. Schumacher is up to second, but the Brazilian still defends third from Coulthard in the hope that his engine will survive the final few laps. Joe Ramirez needn't worry, though, about Barrichello getting in the way anymore. You can't blame him for trying to carry on. He deserves something after his exhilarating performance. Hakkinen can afford to relax. His upcoming sabbatical provides all the inspiration he needs. Indianapolis boss Tony George does the honours as the Finn takes his second victory of the season. Hakkinen's triumph is the ideal end to Ramirez's last race, whilst Irvine gives the Jaguar bosses some hope. Alesi gets his good result just as well for Jordan, as Trulli was disqualified from 4th when the stewards found that the wooden plank underneath his car was worn beyond regulation thickness. Hakkinen's win was all the more satisfying following his pre-race penalty. What was the key to his success?
Reliability and tactics, and teamwork, and good car, an excellent driver, and good sponsors. It's everything end of the day, but I think the tactics was the key point today.
A team effort then, so it's appropriate that everyone shares in the glory. Their long, hard season is now almost at an end. Japan is the last venue for the Formula One World Tour. The country has adopted many Western traits, but its society is still presided over by traditional values. The Suzuka circuit houses the most fanatical Formula One fans in the world. The drivers have to be prepared to be mobbed as soon as they get through the gates. Suzuka is an appropriate place for Mika Häkkinen's last race before his sabbatical. The Finns following here borders on the religious. Before the serious business got underway, McLaren introduced Häkkinen to his new philosophy: maximum relax. Will his old nemesis miss the competition?
Well, it's a shame for Formula One, for the competition, but then there is young drivers following up, and I'm sure there will be loads of motivation and push from the young drivers and other existing drivers to try and beat me, and that's what I'm here for, not to let it happen.
After 4 world titles and 52 wins, is he still hungry for success?
I believe it's pretty easy to see how hungry I am. I mean, if you simply take what I'm doing right now, and there is a lot of challenge still inside myself for single victories, because each event has its challenge, the infight, the competition. That's what I'm looking for, despite the number of wins you have.
What are his future aims?
We would like to, well, enjoy our time with that hard work we have given it so early on, and stay kind of dominant, or at least put a kind of Ferrari era for a certain time.
What message does he have for his fans?
The only message I could send is keep on supporting me, because I need that for a number of years in future. Because support and the kind of emotion I get from the public, it does mean a lot to me, and that's to some degree what we live for.
Just outside the circuit, the Japanese fans are in carnival mood, as the final Grand Prix of a grueling season is almost upon us. It might be the last race of the season, but there's still a huge outpouring of emotion on the grid. It's the end of an era.
John Alesi, everyone wants to give you a hug. How are you feeling on this, your last race?
Thank you, Charlie. It's my last race, but you know, thank you, Kim. It's time to leave the place to the young drivers, and I will try really to make the best Grand Prix as possible.
Do you think you can score points?
It's what I'm looking for, of course, yes.
Best luck, thanks.
I never think of Ferrari as a team that doesn't know if it's coming or going, but you're sporting a new cap. Could you give us a twirl, please? And whose idea was that? Your move into fashion design?
No, this was Jean's idea. I'm taking no credit for it at all.
Questionable fashion aside, there is a huge amount of pride on the line in Japan. Everybody wants to go out on a high. Poleman Michael Schumacher moves quickly to cover Montoya's attack, while Ralf Schumacher goes down the outside of his teammate. He's forced to back away, opening the door for Barrichello. The top four are hounded by Fisichella, taking advantage of his best qualifying performance of the season. Barrichello hopes to reap the benefits of a three-stop strategy. Ralf Schumacher does little to halt the Brazilian. His low fuel weight helps him home in on Montoya. That and some great driving sees him up to second and may help seal runners-up spot in the championship. No need to change that board just yet, as the tenacious Colombian grabs the inside line and snatches back second place. Any thoughts of bagging more points disappear for Giancarlo Fisichella at the Degner curves. However, he got off lightly compared to Raikkonen and Alesi, thanks to suspension failure on the Sauber. Amazingly, both men are okay. The replay shows they were fortunate to escape serious injury. It was also very lucky that those behind weren't hit by the debris from the crash. Alesi checks on Raikkonen as the curtain comes down on a Formula One career spanning 13 years and 201 Grand Prix. The Frenchman's wife, Kumiko, is just glad he's able to walk away. Barrichello is in for his first stop and drops to 6th. Further back, we're about to see one of Formula One's rarest phenomena, a Minardi on the move. Alonso is driving out of his skin to take 15th place off Parnis.
It's fantastic when driving.
Schumacher has dropped to 4th behind Hakkinen after his first pit stop. Is this the last time that we'll see these two great rivals battle for position? Schumacher tries a move on the inside, but Hakkinen is always on top form at Suzuka and keeps 3rd place. Montoya won't hold the lead for long, as his old tyres are replaced with an equally worn set. The Colombian leaves in 5th place. His teammate is looking ragged. If he does that again, he'll get a stop-go penalty. Unfortunately for Williams, Ralf, who lies 4th, delivers.
Ralf stop, 10-second stop though.
Ralf is behind Barrichello as he comes in for his penalty, promoting the two McLarens. Barrichello's stop is ruined as he stalls. Can Ralf get out ahead? It's neck and neck, but Ralf uses all of the pit lane and then some to get ahead. Crossing the white line got him penalised in Germany, But here he had to take evasive action as the Ferrari's pit lane speed limiter sticks on. The team consult the rulebook as Barrichello puts their man under immense pressure. They'd better keep hold of it for further research as Ralf cuts the chicane for the third time. This has got to be incredibly frustrating for the Brazilian. He channels that anger into a bold move down the outside. Unless Ralf wants another penalty, he'll have to let him through. Coulthard looks on target for the runners-up spot in the Drivers' Championship. Häkkinen's parting gift is to offer him his place on the podium. Life's much more difficult for another former champion. Villeneuve probably can't wait for the end of this race. He pushes too hard to get by 9th place Trulli, summing up a trying season for himself and BAR. His old rival finishes off his season by making more motorsport history. Michael Schumacher's 9th win of the season takes him past Alain Prost's record for the most points scored in a Formula One career. That crushing victory was vintage Schumacher. Even the management are in awe of their champion. Montoya took a well-deserved 2nd place, while Ralf Schumacher claims a point after a difficult race. His brother goes through his traditional victory ritual. He's had a lot of practice this season. The world champion finishes up with nearly twice as many points as Coulthard. Montoya, Heidfeld and Raikkonen are the season's revelations, while Verstappen and Button will be extremely disappointed with their meagre totals. Ferrari have swept all before them, while Jordan finished 5th after winning their appeal against Trulli's disqualification in America. Arrows will hope that Cosworth Power can move them up the table next season. Riding a tidal wave of success, Schumacher has scored the most points ever in a single season. Jean Todt and Ross Brawn also played their part in establishing a Ferrari legacy. Will Schumacher make good on those plans? Few would bet against him. It's the end of another gripping season of Formula One. 2001 saw the red cars get even further ahead, leaving their rivals with plenty to think about over the winter.
What's the first thing you think about 2001?
I don't know exactly what I would say.
My one memory of the year.
We'll let one have to go. Put his hand up. He's not even holding up with us.
Indianapolis was a great result. That was one of the best feelings what I have for a long time. Silverstone was something very special.
I think Brazil was a very special race for me.
Monaco qualifying was, from a personal point of view, obviously a high. There's been a lot of frustrations along through the season.
We've had a lot of tough races. We've had a lot of good races. Probably don't have as many points as we would have liked, but hopefully we can put the two things together and then make a quantum leap forward next year.
Bring on next year. It's been probably the hardest year of my life.
It was a tough season for us and easy for others.
Obviously finishing 5th in Hockenheim was good. Was Indianapolis and Monza.
podium, I think, in Brazil.
Obviously, Spa.
I love you all. Thank you.